Deli, you're back.
Reed, I'm back.
You're alive.
I am alive.
Mm-hmm.
That was far from a sure thing for a little while. I had quite the man in the mirror moment, and I've come to a new level of peace and acceptance of my mortality that I've never had in my life before. I'm not afraid, and I'm not out of danger.
Well, it's good to have you back. That was,
Thank you.
It was a stressful part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, today back at Echo Park, and streaming at full 1080p today. Hopefully,
See if that matters.
Hopefully our data plans don't get too overwhelmed, or mine. Yeah, should be fun.
Data plans are consumables.
Yeah.
We could crack open the tap on that. I'm ready to do it. Got one data plan for myself that I pay for, and then one that SCI pays for, which has been a real blessing, because my own personal one I've used really, really hard. And then when it actually comes down to a meeting that matters, switching the reserve. For things like these live streams, I think I may need 2 reserves that run so that my main account that is definitely clogged isn't responsible for a camera. That's going to become important because I have a new project. I have a new project burning a hole in my desire to go cramming and slamming. And it comes from my own medical hesitancy. Frankly, put me in a lot more danger because I took a lot too long to go to the hospital with this infection. And if I'd have done it at the right time than almost everybody else would have, I'd have taken a 10% chance on my life. And as it is, I waited till the last minute, or I took about a 50% chance. And if I'd have waited another 12 to 24 hours, it would have been a 90% chance.
Oh my gosh.
I would have just died, and they wouldn't have been able to pull me back from the brink. So,
would anyone like to do an interview today? Hi. Nice hat.
So anyway, my goal is to have about 50 to 100 interviews before the end of the calendar year.
Wow.
On the subject of medical hesitancy.
150 interviews before the end of the year?
50 to 100.
50 to 100, okay.
50 to 100. Okay. And some of that might be cheating because I might be interviewing people as a couple. Oh. So I might get 2 for a visit or something. Okay. But I am setting myself for 50 to 75 events between now and the end of the year is the goal. And I'm looking for people all across the spectrum of their medical hesitancy, from people like myself who would only go to the doctor for a broken bone at most and scared to shit of that. Can't maintain a relationship with a primary care physician, shit like that. To where I closer want to be on the other side of being able to embrace and trust.
Yeah.
And I want people from all across that spectrum. I will be asking about their vaccine status, but nothing else, no other specific medical details. I'm not asking for people to share all of their diagnoses or something. I'm going to talk about their fears. I want to talk about their confidences. I want to talk about the reasons why they might step past their fears.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Humanize. Get people to be able to think about it without going into arguing and political shit.
Yeah. Should be a great project.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm getting really excellent support wherever I'm needing it, and I need to spend this week making sure that all of my StreamYard ducks are in a row, and I'll be scheduling starting next week, and it could be as tight as every weekday. And it'll be spread throughout the day. This is about their timing, not mine. The live streams are going to happen when they happen, and it's going to be a bunch of them.
Cool. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Look forward to that.
Thank you.
I'll have the free water.
Oh, free water, yes. Could you bring me one back? I forgot my regular bottle of liquid. Having to pull off our giveaways. That's within bounds.
That was fast.
Yeah. That's why I bring my own bottle. I just hammer anybody else's too hard. Lady's got jeans with cutaway knees that are so big a gap it looks like she's wearing shorts and then changed her mind.
Yeah, we've got these little fans
Yeah.
as well. That's new.
On my sweaty head, it feels very nice.
Feels like it's going past my head because the wind's blowing this
Oh.
way. So it's
Well, you
going
can tilt it. And you can also tilt it this way.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, just have to like blow it a little bit this way for it to
Have a net, yeah.
blow.
Got to get around your hat. A curveball around your JPL.
That's better.
We're in a different location than most weeks. Most of the time we're that way, about 100 meters. You might notice that the fountain is kind of on the left side of the frame. So we're on the same side of the lake and we just come down here about 100 meters. This has been a nice place in the past. It's been a nice place in the past. And before they fence off this part, on Sundays we would expect to have vendors in these spots, so they weren't available. And right now the vendors have been pushed to the sidewalk on the edge of the park on the other side of the fence. So their vans are parked, and I got a line of vendors that I'm looking at right back over there. So we're gonna try this spot. It's got real pretty with some pretty things. Some pretty.
Yeah. This is like the swan boat takeoff zone.
Mm-hmm. This is where they sprint to half knot. See if I can pull this up on YouTube. That way I can harass people.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just go to my own channel. Yep, there it is. Your current live streams. That one. That's the one I want.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark, yes. Mark, I'm going to order some mic stands that are very much like yours. If you like snagged them off Amazon or something like that, and you know the link, please throw it at me. It would save me some shopping. I'm also planning to get these spidery cages.
How much weight did you lose? Quite a bit, it seems.
Yeah. My rough estimate of it was that before I got sick, I was 110 kilograms, and that's just from measuring the pets for flea medicines or something kind of thing. I don't necessarily trust my home scales very well. And when I hit the hospital, the first weight was 97.6, and my low before I left was 88.7. So I lost almost 21, 22 kilograms from my assumed baseline. And during the time in the hospital, I was losing a kilogram a day most of the days.
Wow. I think there's some sound coming from your pad. There we go.
Thank you.
Mark asks, how can he back channel you? Discord?
Sure, you can back channel me Discord, or my email address is jugglinglessons@gmail.com. I don't get all that much spam, so I don't mind my email being public. You can share it with anybody. I think I may have to tie that open spot back for flappage.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a piece of tape that's in Zimdoom.
Oh.
Do you have any tape? Yeah, you got some of that clear tape. That's a good place to start. It's not as good as my gaffer's tape.
It's clamp, too. This thing?
I'll try it. There, well, that's the end of that flapping.
Nice.
Okay. I think I'm gonna busk.
You sure?
No, I'm not at all sure. I'm gonna give it a try though, and not push into pain or anything.
Okay.
Mostly my arms feel pretty good. I'm keeping them to light duty, but I need to exercise, so I'll have the light, low energy juggling today.
Mark sent you a Discord DM.
You did?
Mark did.
Mark did, good. I will follow that up after the live stream.
Okay. Hello, Mark. How's it going? Hey.
Good. I know we're public. I know this is in private, so I'll keep the information to a minimum. But I just wanted to say how great it is to see Dolly. That's it.
Thank you. And I do intend to make all of that medical information public as part of my medical interview series over the next few months. So you're welcome to blather out any of my medical information that you know. It's something I'm intending to make public.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting feedback.
Oh, sorry, I should speak directly into the mic.
Yeah.
And my answer is I'm going to be making all of this information about my recent medical stuff public as part of a interview series that I'm doing over the next few months. So you're welcome to be as public about what you know about my medical as you like.
Yeah.
I'll start by saying I just had about 3 weeks in the hospital from I've got a biotic infection that results in a bunch of abscesses around my liver, and was also blood and systemic, and was impacting my lungs, and I almost had to be intubated just for that. So I'm doing way better. Everything's cleared except the actual nodules around my liver, and as we're going, if we can shrink them with the IV antibiotics, I got a PICC line in here, then that's the best course. And the alternative is, if we can't, we're looking at surgery that might be open, might be laparoscopic. It depends on available windows. And if we can shrink them, it increases the available windows opportunity and reduces the risk. But the main worst risk is that I have to go in for what's a relatively open and infection-prone abdominal surgery.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so the biggest probability is that it's going to be affected by meds, antibiotics.
Yeah, I'm taking between 3.5% and 5% risk over the next month, fatality risk, to see whether or not the antibiotics are going to take care of it, trying to avoid what might be a 10 or 20% fatality risk if we have to go the full surgical route.
I'm sure it's a hell of a thing you went through.
It was a hell of a thing, and I think twice I had days where my next seeing tomorrow was only a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
But I was in the best possible hands. I was at the Harbor UCLA Medical Center. They're a teaching hospital, and they have an amazing staff, and I was treated amazingly well, except for eight minor incidents.
Except for what?
Except for 8 minor incidents.
8 minor incidents?
Yes.
Okay. You kept track?
Yeah. Well, like one minor incident was installing an IV here in the crook of my arm and leaving it in for about 4 or 5 days past when it was no longer useful and should have been taken out, and I was complaining about it. And in that first day, having a blood pressure cuff come over it and having the blood pressure cuff every 15 or 20 minutes measure me. And by the time they took it out, I only had about 10 degrees range of motion in my left arm, and this has taken a week and something to get over the bruising and the swelling of that kind of thing. So a minor incident is something that's not going to kill me, something that should have been obvious, something that should have been responded to, and just didn't rise to the top 10 of things that they needed to be paying attention to me for. So it really fell out. And I've got a bunch of those.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's fairly common.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, those are the kind of things that have added up in my medical experience to give me a lot of medical hesitancy. So, while I don't want to blame any individuals, everybody has bad days. It honestly does add up, and I think medical hesitancy is going to kill 250,000 to 500,000 people in this country over the next 12 months. Mostly because of vaccine hesitancy, but I think it's all time. I think it's all intertwined.
Yeah. How are you, just physically, like mobility, getting around? Obviously, you got to the park, so I mean.
I've got 100% mobility and about 30% endurance. Okay. So I can do everything. I'm at half strength and at 1/3 duration, but I can walk, I can dance. The last night in the hospital, I was like almost messing with the staff because 2 in the morning I go out and take an hour and a half walking the thing, and I'm listening to jazz in my earphones and dancing and flouncing and moving to the music and all this kind of thing. So they were so impressed. I am the first person I've ever heard of to be allowed to be released from the hospital without riding out in a wheelchair. I walked from my room out with staff permission. I've never heard of that.
Wow. Without staff permission?
No, I had with staff permission
with staff.
and encouragement. I did not need a wheelchair. They saw me for an hour and a half in the hallways, acting like a fairy.
You went from 50-50. That's what we were all told. And
Oh,
here
yeah.
you are, man. I'm just really excited to see you.
Yeah, I had some real 50-50 time, and
Yeah, gosh.
there were several times in there were it not for the intervention of the staff, very timely intervention, I wouldn't have had that 50%. Yeah, it was really scary, and kind of like done being scared now. I've had all the scared now. I'm done with that. The rest is gratefulness.
Do you have a new perspective? Do you see things differently?
Totally.
Now? How so?
Insanely new perspective.
Like, what's changed?
Right now I'm highly motivated toward a philanthropic drive to save lives. I want to share the thing that is changing in me about trust and risk management, make that public, see if that can be helpful to people. Yeah, what would happen, I got an infection, and I was stubborn about going to the hospital about it and pushed it to the point where they had to really yank me back over the cliff.
It's not unusual.
It's an unusual one.
Well, not unusual. A lot of
and
people do that. A lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people have hesitancy.
Yeah.
It's a huge issue, and for a lot of it's pretty good reasons. And I have a hell of a lot of opinions about what's wrong with medicine as an institution, but I don't want to make that that's not the point. The point is to humanize people's fears and confidences and why they make their choices, and to let them get into the emotional place of it.
Yeah.
While because I think most of the time when somebody says, I'm not getting the vaccine, it immediately goes into arguing, debate, blame, partisan bullshit, conspiracy theories or not, doesn't get down to any of the real reasons that could actually change their mind.
And you mean?
And because it's such an emotional thing. Yeah, I think it's more emotional than logical. And so I think people are going to change their minds because they see somebody else who's processing through their emotions and they can relate. And then they can process their own emotions about it more.
Hi. We're doing some interviews
More
today. If you're
effectively.
interested, we'll be here for a while.
Strangely, in this case, less rationally, more effectively. I'm not divorcing the rationality. It's got, it's rational and feelings, but I got to include the feelings on this one.
If you're interested,
So the
let us know.
epistemology part of it is kind of a bit different. I'm going to step up and,
Okay, great.
relinquish the.
We have a
It's great
YouTube
to see
Yeah,
you,
thank you,
Dolly.
Mark.
Really.
hobby
We'll talk
where
about it.
we try to practice a particular way of having conversations where it's called street epistemology.
Okay.
It's like a Socratic method style. It's friendly. We're not trying to argue from an alternate perspective. We want to try to hear you out and understand your position by asking mainly questions. And if you're cool with it, ask more challenging questions later on if you're interested. But it's mainly seeking to understand and helping people reflect on whatever they believe and why.
Okay. Is there an ideological bent underneath all of it?
Critical thinking.
That's the ideology?
That is our ideology. Yeah.
Yeah, independent of any religion or anything else.
Sure. Okay, I mean, I'm interested. You want to interview me?
I am, yeah.
Is this going to be used as part of a podcast or something? Oh, you're live streaming?
Yeah, we are live. I have a YouTube channel. He has a YouTube channel.
Since you walked in here, you're on.
Oh, I've been on this whole time. Cool.
Over there
Yeah.
you were. We could hear you, but we couldn't see you.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, once I got in front of the camera. Oh, and there's me. A little bit of a delay.
Oh yeah, there's
Sweet. All right,
that's all
well,
it looks.
better sit up straight if I'm on
There's
camera.
only like 8 people watching, so it's not a big deal. When I put on headphones, it's a little bit easier to hear
Sure.
ourselves, each other.
This is exciting. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome. Let me adjust this. So do you come to park often?
Yeah. I live nearby. It's a nice place to take a stroll.
Yeah, I love this place.
Yeah.
Super nice. Oh my gosh, someone's on a powerboat. Okay. And yeah, we'll want to talk about any particular topic you saw over there, or really anything you want to chat about. It's not so much about what, but why.
The why.
Yeah.
Well, just out of curiosity, first of all, what's that logo on your shirt?
This is from a YouTube channel called CGP Grey. Have you seen that logo and YouTube channel before?
Well, no, it's similar to the Bethesda logo.
Oh yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So, and then I thought maybe that was a potion inside the Bethesda logo. I assumed you were into alchemy and Skyrim or something.
No, it's another kind of, I don't know how to describe his YouTube channel, but it's more just inquiry, investigation, whatever is interesting to the person who runs a channel, and knowledge as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
Could I get your first name?
My name is Paul.
Cool. My name is Reed. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Reed.
Yeah. So anything else to explain about what I'm doing here? Want to pick a topic and then chat about it for a few minutes?
I don't have a strong topic in terms of preference. I'm just sort of more interested in your general approach here. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about?
Yeah. The vaccine hesitancy.
Okay.
Or anything political, any political policy.
Yeah, I'm interested in all that. I think vaccines and vaccine hesitancy is top of mind for a lot of people these days. That might be an interesting thing to get into.
Definitely, we could chat about that.
Yeah.
And I guess a relevant question there is is the vaccine worth taking?
The science seems to indicate that it is, and the numbers seem to bear that out.
Okay. And I've got a little confidence scale. If all the way to the right is absolutely yes, the current set of vaccines we have are worth taking, one of them, for most people, or absolutely no, that's not the case, or I'm not sure in between. Where is your current confidence about that?
Probably, so the darker gray is absolutely yes. I would say probably about here. I mean, nothing's 100%, but...
Yeah. Very close to the top there?
Yes.
All right. And yeah, we'll just get into some reasons and I'll hear you out and ask questions about it.
Sure.
What is the main reason for you to be at that level of confidence?
That just seems to, all of the science indicates that it's as safe as any vaccine can be expected to be, and effective at preventing severe cases of COVID-19, and in most cases preventing infection completely.
Okay, it prevents people from getting the disease, and it helps people, whoever get it, not as severe type of symptoms and that type of thing.
That's that's my understanding. All right. Yeah.
It's good for safety.
That's correct.
All right. Another kind of scale is this is interesting. What's the safest vaccine? We'll just say, if in general, abstractly, the safest vaccine possible is you're cured within 24 hours. The worst vaccine is you die within 24 hours. Where is the current vaccine for COVID?
Well, you've set up a dichotomy between either end of the scale that doesn't exist. Vaccines don't cure people, they prevent infection. So there's no such thing as a vaccine that cures you in 24 hours. I'm also not aware of, obviously some vaccines have had side effects in the past and have been severe, but I'm also not aware of any vaccine that kills you within 24 hours. So I'm not sure where I would put the COVID vaccine on that scale, considering that the two ends of it are sort of fantastical to me.
Yeah, it's just a very objective, obvious place to be to set the scale, and then we can measure. I'm trying to measure how safe or dangerous this vaccine is compared to other vaccines. Just to get a general sense.
My understanding is that the scientific results indicate there's not a significant difference in the safety of this vaccine compared to any other vaccine that we usually take in this society. Now, the difference with the COVID-19 vaccine is that it hasn't had as long a trial period as many vaccines. So I can understand why that would cause some concern, but at the same time, there's no evidence that there are any significant safety risks with it that I'm aware of.
There's no current evidence of any safety risks for the current set of...
Well, no, that's an extreme statement, and it's not true, because of course there's cases of, statistically insignificant cases of either breakthrough infections for people who have had the vaccine or side effects for people who have had the vaccine. but I don't know that it's any more severe than, I think it's within acceptable margins for us to take a vaccine.
Statistically insignificant. The benefits completely outweigh any type of statistically insignificant cost.
That's correct. That's my understanding. Yeah.
On a population level.
Yeah.
So individuals should feel perfectly safe to get a vaccine.
Well, I think that being vaccinated right now is a lot safer than being unvaccinated, and the numbers of COVID hospitalizations and deaths in states where there's not a lot of vaccine acceptance kind of speak for themselves on that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, abstractly, we would expect, people in a certain state, they have different policies to have different results in terms of vaccination and their hospitalization and death rates.
Yes.
What's the best example of like these disparate sets of data that give a real clear sign that the vaccine is helpful?
Well, now we're getting into an area that would require me to thoroughly answer it, to have a folder of evidence with me, like I was preparing for a debate or something, and I don't. I think one of the most recent ones I heard about was Florida is having extremely high rates of cases, and DeSantis is trying to blame it on immigrants, which is a drastic oversimplification and probably total BS. My home state, Alaska, is experiencing pretty significant spikes in hospitalizations, and this one I'm pretty familiar with because a family member works in epidemiology for the state and tracks those numbers, and it's pretty bad up there right now. And I know that in a lot of states, again, this is a sense I've gathered from a few weeks of sort of following headlines. I don't have the evidence binder with me, but my understanding is that in a lot of states where there hasn't been as much vaccination, hospitals are closing down and turning people away. That's starting to happen in Alaska.
Cool, yeah.
I don't think it's cool. I think it sucks.
Oh, well, yeah. yeah, it does. I went on a cruise to Alaska about 4 or 5 years ago. Loved Alaska.
Yeah, it's the best. Everybody should see it before it melts.
Before it melts. All right, so we can. I think I've understood your reasons. Any other main reasons besides the safety part of it?
Well, yeah. I mean, kind of. This is technically under the same heading of safety, but like that we're still in, a global crisis, and vaccination numbers are the way to get through it quicker. So that's the other reason.
Yeah, if everyone is healthy and safe, we're likely to get through the part where, the other general side effects like the economy and other, can't go to movie theaters and everything is getting shut down. That would be remedied. I
mean, yeah, like as far as that goes with, closing stuff down and concerns about the economy, I mean, you can try different policies in different states and people have, but at the end of the day, if a significant percentage of the population is afraid of the virus, the economy is going to feel it because people aren't going to spend money the same way. So trying to fix the economy without dealing with the pandemic, in my opinion, is putting the cart before the horse.
Gotcha. All right. Cool. Well, thank you so much for the chat. I think I understand where you're coming from. Any questions for me? Anything else to chat about for this?
Are you associated with JPL?
No, it's just a fan.
Oh,
I went to an open house a couple years ago, and they had so I got
Sweet. Yeah, no, that's cool. There was one other thing that I wanted to say, I think, while we were on the topic, but now I'm having trouble remembering what it was.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, I'm not going to tie up your air. I'm trying to remember it. Yeah, no, that's great. I think that's everything.
No worries. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. We have also try to be here 12 to 4 on Sundays. If you see us again, walking around,
and say hello.
Feel free to say hello, and we'll pick something else.
Oh, I remember what else I was going to say. No. The other thing, the one caveat that I would say, based on everything I just said, is that even if America did get completely vaccinated, if everybody changed their minds, which probably won't happen, and we had like over 90% vaccination or something, it's not clear to me that would actually help. It would certainly stall the pandemic here, but so many places in the world have no access to vaccines, and COVID is just raging through those populations and mutating. It seems likely, just because this is what viruses do, they evolve and get smarter and figure things out, that there will probably be a variant that is vaccine resistant eventually, and I don't think we can do anything to stop that. The Lambda variant is a variant of interest that looks like it might already be. So for now, the vaccine seems like the best option, but we'll see what the virus does. So far it's been kicking our asses every step of the way. It's been outrunning the human race's ability to contain and control it, and see no reason to think that it's ever going to stop doing that. So probably will be in this little dance for at least a couple more years.
Yeah, so it seems to be like a global coordination problem if we want to actually tamp it down completely.
Yeah, it may be too widespread and too big to control. But also, people are like, oh, when's it going to go back to normal? When's it going to go back to normal? And it's not, because even if we knock out the pandemic, we have worsening climate change, and a huge percentage of our country has been completely misled by misinformation, and of course the economy's in the toilet. So we're probably going to have to deal with a couple decades of turmoil before we have any hope of achieving any kind of balance again. So I don't know, I guess everybody should be kind to each other and try to love each other as much as possible and get through this. And I would say probably get vaccinated too.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, on that note, yeah. Have a great day.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's cool.
Thanks.
Thank you. See you. That's a good warm-up conversation. Oh, someone's interested. Interested in the water. Alright, let me go back to StreamYard here. Oh, there's Mark still here. Did you listen to that, Mark?
Yeah, that was nice. Job.
Hey. Yeah, I kind of messed up that other alternate scale question. I don't know why I want to do he didn't seem hesitant about the vaccine, so maybe trying to get the alternate scale of like how dangerous the vaccine is compared to other vaccines is whatever. Here's JCC as well. What's up, JCC?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You're watching
Sounds
us
like
on
he was a
stream.
good guy to talk to.
Yeah, he's nice.
Yeah. My guess he was something like an epidemiologist or close to it.
Mm-hmm. And we also have someone named Joe. I guess Joe, if you're there, feel free to turn on your video and audio, ideally video as well. I'll let you come on as well. Welcome, Joe. Who are you?
Hi. Random person that just found the SE community about a week ago through Anthony's videos, and then joined the SE Discord. We've been having a few nice conversations there. And
Cool.
so this thing about this, I went to just actually watch the stream, and then I guess I ended up somewhere where I'm part of participating in it. So, yeah.
Sweet. Welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I had
How
a
did
sort
you
of
get into
interesting
SE originally? Go ahead.
Well, no, I can explain that. I have had an interest for a while in the ACA stuff, so atheist experience and talk heathen and those shows. And Anthony, I saw an episode where Anthony went on there and explained street epistemology and gave some video examples from his YouTube channel, and that sort of sent me there. And then there's a reference there to the SE community Discord, and joined that and been having a blast so far. It's been awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I just wanted to maybe
bring up another topic.
Yeah, I wanted to get your idea on maybe. I have, I guess, a concern. I don't know if it's far-fetched, but I'm wondering if you see a mechanism in the way society is at the moment with social media and how there doesn't really seem to be one truth at the moment in the world. It sort of seems to be whatever corner of the internet you live on is how the truth is really heavily shaded in that way. And I'm really searching for a mechanism that's going to bring us back to where we can more commonly align to a collective truth that, for problem solving or for whatever else. I think SE is a great one for that, because you're getting people to think about how they think about that. But is there a larger can we come back from this in a meaningful way?
Sure.
Largely, or I'm curious.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
people's epistemology, in one regard, tends toward reality checks, except of course where they get inculcated with really bad reasons to believe things, religion, and and multi-level marketing and a whole bunch of things that try to take advantage of the ways in which we can easily fool ourselves, and those get embedded in our epistemologies. So if we merely practice examining our epistemology and being willing to change it when we find something that doesn't align with reality, we will converge on an epistemology that aligns with reality.
Yeah, I fully agree with that, especially. That's why I've been just totally in love with SE so far. In my past, I've been a lot more confrontational in conversations with worldviews that I disagree with, and it quite
There's
obviously
a lot of place for that.
Quite obviously leads to unproductive conversation a lot of the time. But in a one-on-one,
not always. It's useful some of the time. Let's not throw it out with the bathwater.
Yeah, true. But I think in the one-on-one scenario,
Bill Ham.
It's true. But
I want a rematch.
I guess on a societal level, can we get there with so much power in the influences that lead us away from good ways of thinking, like even many news sources, social media, all those big, powerful forces that are sort of pushing us away from objective truth. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I found a very happy trend. I've noticed amongst a lot of my friends that they are getting less and less fraction of their news from single mainstream sources and putting it together from a whole bunch of more exacting sources. They'll actually get their news from specific experts in the field and have a much wider opportunity to collect their information. Except, of course, people that watch Fox News. They just only watch Fox News, or they really get stuck in the echo chamber. But I think it's set up for that.
I wish they had a great book, The Constitution of Knowledge. It talks about this topic very much in depth. I highly recommend that book.
Can you give me that title one more time, please, Reed? Sorry.
The Constitution of Knowledge. Who's the author?
Jonathan Rauch.
Jonathan Rauch. Cool.
Yeah, Constitution of Knowledge.
That's awesome. I'll definitely check that out. And I just wanted to offer, maybe if somebody's just getting involved as I have only recently, I really do recommend the SE Community Discord. I dropped in there, as I said, with no prior knowledge, not knowing anyone, and went into one of the SE voice things and just delved straight into a conversation, and everybody was really welcoming, and it was awesome. And I would highly recommend, if anyone's, even if you're feeling shy or whatever, get over there and jump on in. You don't even have to talk. You can just mute your mic and sit there and listen, and I think there's a lot of value there.
We love lurkers.
Yeah. Have you gone to any of the SE practice sessions? Because this Dahlia is the one who usually runs the. If you're
These
here
days,
recently,
I'm happily like one of a team of like 6 or 9 people that do it, and so they've really been filling in for me while I've been out for several weeks. It's a good thing.
Right. I have. I think it happened to be Anthony. I'm not sure. Not sure if he was running it or however, but I did go to one of the SE practice ones, and it was awesome.
Good.
Great.
great, cool.
Yep. Yeah. So I guess the format then was they sort of opened it to claims and just practice, bounce back and forth, and then some people weren't speaking; they were just offering questions in a chat channel that runs alongside. And excellent format. And it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, I really love that format. It's a little like this in that you can. I gotta aim it at myself. Yeah, I'm looking at the. Yeah, I gotta do that. Thank you. Just like here, everybody can live chat, text at us, and as long as we get a chance to read it, we can include it in the process. So this all came out of an idea called Campfire Convos. I guess that happened around like February or March of 20, where the practitioner was inviting. They had somebody sorting the questions, so it was like what do you call when you select the questions, anyway.
Like a call screener?
Yeah, like a call screener. So the questions were, they had an extra layer of the questions. Found out that wasn't really necessary. As long as the person who's doing the questioning isn't really busy, they can cherry pick the questions out of the list without getting too distracted. But Campfire Convo's got that particular strategy, and now we're using it. We're using that format a lot, where it's a dialogue but with a whole bunch of hecklers in the text.
Hello.
Howdy.
And what's your handle on the Discord server? Is it?
I'm juggling lessons.
Okay, great. I go by
Read is cordial curiosity.
Right.
Or Read Nice Wonder.
Or Read Nice Wonder, yeah.
I go by the bloody nine.
My friends all know me as Dolly.
Okay.
And my handle is juggling lessons.
Okay.
It's a little easy to remember because so often the times I'm tossing my balls in the air.
That's awesome. Well, I go by the handle the bloody nine. It's a character from a book series.
Okay.
But I think I've added
The bloody lunatic.
No, the bloody nine,
Okay.
as in the number 9.
Oh, the bloody 9, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but
Cool.
yeah, I'm sure I'll see you
Is
around.
that like the English bloody minded, or more like just horror film?
It's
reference?
a character. There's an author called Joe Abercrombie. He's a modern fantasy author. If you read fiction
Okay.
or fantasy at all, I would promote those. He's my favorite contemporary author, and that's one of his
Nice.
characters that he wrote. So yeah. Anyway, it's really
Nice,
awesome stuff.
nice.
If you like fiction.
Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks, Joe, for coming
Yeah,
on.
thanks for the time.
Feel free to hang
Yeah.
out.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask Mark, how was your Clubhouse session the other day? I was there for most of it, but I was just mainly recording and doing other things.
Yeah, it was cool. That was the first time I've done anything like that. And if you're not familiar with Clubhouse, it's the first time I've really, it's an interesting platform where you're given a stage. It's like you're in a theater, and you're given a stage, and people come up and ask you questions, but it's all, of course, all virtual. And I didn't really totally get that concept until I was actually doing it. And it's a really neat way to have a conversation. And I think the people there were really receptive, and they asked great questions, challenging questions about SE, and some I think I answered well, and some I'm not sure. But it was a great way to talk about it, and I thank those guys for allowing me on. And you've been on that particular channel, haven't you, Reed?
Yeah, on that club.
That
Yeah,
club,
I
I
have.
mean?
I did that, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And it seems like they've got a whole roster of SE people coming up in the next few Saturdays. I think Michael Mead is
He's
coming up
next.
soon. Yeah,
Nice.
And then more people coming up. Yeah, it's very nice. And there is a Street Epistemology club as well, and I'd like to see regular practice sessions there, ideally. I might do that myself. I'll try on Saturdays, but I'd like to see someone else at least be more consistent.
Yeah,
Mm.
shout
It's
out
on
to
Saturdays.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already have 3 practice sessions scheduled on Saturdays, so our host team is relatively there now.
That's just when I'm free, but other people could do it whenever.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think Gigi's sort of taking on the one from Better Conversations, so that'll be sweet. And Michael Mead pretty much always is doing Australia Friendly, and I Ram and I are really sharing the load on the first main practice. He's obviously been holding up more than his usual slack lately, so it's not too bad.
Cool.
Maybe do people in the team that would like to help make it regular, or be at least a backup stack of people.
Well, I'd like to just give a shout out to David, he has a Facebook called Sound Epistemology, and he also has a YouTube channel. I don't remember the name of that. And
Chapman
good
Bay
guy.
channel.
what's that?
Chapman Bay
Yeah,
channel.
yeah.
I don't know why they have channel in their YouTube channel name, but
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
It's the channel.
It's saying an ATM
ATM machine.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes, but is it an automated ATM machine?
Or Maybe.
Or is it one of those manual ones?
Like a human.
It is interesting because I was on in the club, and there are definitely people wanting to make the case, which was cool, that SE maybe has its place, but really, you really need to be in the business of persuasion, you know?
Why?
Really, you need to be giving your arguments, and it's just, I think people have different reasons for it. We even had one guy who just liked the gamesmanship of it, just who can win the argument, you know. And different reasons. And I was kind of coming at it that, well, if our goal is, I was really thinking about the goal of this, and the goal is to actually change beliefs or reduce confidence beliefs if they need to be changed or reduced, then there's not too much that persuasion is the way to go.
Yeah, I think persuasion is useful and overrepresented by a factor of 10, because it's the first, second, third, and fourth, and seventh strategy that people ever try. Most of the time they never get past trying persuasion. So if persuasion is not optimum, it's overused.
And I just was kind of relating it to, we've all had that experience where we're, sitting down at a Thanksgiving meal with a relative, and you're trying to persuade them with your ideas and your facts and vice versa, and it doesn't seem to go very far.
Yeah, it's so ubiquitous. It's so the only way people even try. That unless it is in fact the best way, it's overdone. And it is clearly not the best way in my experience.
Yeah. Presenting people, anti-vaxxers, with more vaccination facts doesn't seem like that's going to do it.
Yeah.
It's good not to equivocate persuasion to mean debate or giving someone arguments or facts.
Yeah, persuasion's a bigger Venn diagram.
Yeah.
But it's actually having the goal to change their mind directly, as opposed to backing off and just helping them audit, let them change their mind on their own.
We're doing some interviews today. If anyone's interested, we'll be here for a while.
Be here till 4-ish.
Right, exactly.
We do get more wind, more mist, because you're right in the target area for the mist if it gets a high wind gust.
I got some text feedback in the live text from way back, but there was a lot of noise right then. But
with wind or wind?
I don't know exactly, and of course I didn't catch it when it was actually sent, so I don't know what the timeliness of that feedback.
Yeah, I don't know how it sounds on your end. I'm just hearing the raw audio here.
Yeah.
I don't know what the compression is doing.
Yeah. I mean, we are outside. There are helicopters. There's a little bit of wind. There's a little bit of artificial wind. Hopefully these things aren't too much of a problem. These are little USB battery-powered fans that I just picked up for when I'm on the boat. I've got this one really big fan. It's really effective, but it's also really noisy. So if I'm on microphone, I just have to turn it off and sweat. So these are intended to be a compromise of low noise to not sweat, because I got this pick in and I'm supposed to keep this from sweating for avoiding infection reasons.
Well, I imagine Street Epistemology International could fund a air-conditioned tent at this point.
Oh, the SEI paid for these. This came out of juggling lessons budget.
An air-conditioned tent?
Yeah, that's.
I don't see why they couldn't pay for that.
That's so much money. When we think of first of all, we wouldn't be willing to use a fuel burning generator for that, because of the noise and stink and reasons like that. So now we're talking about a lithium lunchbox of many kilowatt hours, which means it's like one that rolls around on a cart. So, the cost.
It's not too hot.
It's not all that hot. It's fine.
As long as we have shade.
Yeah, as long as we have shade and can sweat, there's enough of a breeze to keep the sweat from sticking. The humidity's not too bad. Probably 70%. Right now it's probably 30 degrees C. 80 something Fahrenheit.
Well, why couldn't SEI have drop from a helicopter down like a trailer that's just a studio ready to go outside somewhere? And then you don't have to set up.
Wow, you just hit 5 digits right away. Slam. Yeah, I think first of all that request is 5 digits. Secondly, if we were to drop a trailer right here, the Rangers would immediately eject us. Oh yeah. Right now you're not allowed to bring vehicles that are more than bicycles or a kid's wagon or something in here.
But you tell them, look, the helicopter's gone. There's nothing I can do at this point.
Yeah, I'm not thinking that's sustainable.
Yeah, I think we're pushing it here with this setup. There's like a sign over there with that exact amount of umbrella length or radius you can have, and I think we're right on that edge.
Yeah, we're already pushing it. The nice thing is we are such regulars, and I think we have a sterling reputation for not causing disorder.
Yeah.
Well, I saw you guys get kicked out.
People walk away happy.
You guys got kicked out of Canyon.
Yeah, we got kicked out of Runyon Canyon. Hello, yes, please. Yeah, we got kicked out of Runyon Canyon the last time. They've been carefully ignoring us as much as possible, but then they had somebody come in and immediately start an obvious sales vending table, literally 15 meters up the walk from us. And so they got a call immediately on that, and when they came out, they had to, sorry, we didn't come for you. We can't avoid it now. We have to ask you to leave. The guy was really apologetic, like he didn't want to do that.
It's a bummer because it's such a great spot.
It's such a great spot.
We should attempt another session there.
Sure. Well, pick a day that's not Sunday so that we can make this one nice and regular.
Yeah.
I really like this one being every week, every Sunday, whenever we can.
Because it's good we can help. We can just tell people we'll be here, and they might come back.
And this is an area where there's a strong Sunday church thing.
There.
So we're showing up right after church, and it's not that we're targeting theists or anything, but we're just targeting families and people who are out walking in the park, whatever the thing is.
Yep. Any other thoughts or questions, Joe?
Yeah, James, these are the fans. There's clamped on here. These are USB self-powered, USB charging. They claim 10,000 milliamp hours. That seems a little excessive, but they also claim that on low they're 50 hours and on high maybe 12. So we're trying them out, and I'll tell you, a little fan right over the top of your head if you're not wearing a hat and you got nice thin hair like mine, that keeps my scalp dry and happy.
I have a question. That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious, in the where you are now, I'm not even sure where you are geographically, but is there a fairly strong percentage of the community there that would be religious, do you think? Or where does it sort of lie on a broader community? It is, okay.
Yeah, I think we're in a more than the average religious zone here. It's largely Hispanic, which typically is largely religious.
Sure.
And there's also a lot of black people here, and I think they are more than the average religious.
Yeah, we're in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
Near
Los Angeles
downtown.
Echo Park. There's no problem with locating where we are. We're on the meetup. If you wanted to come visit us, you're welcome to. This isn't doxing at all.
Oh yeah,
If you're at all familiar with the local area, those fountains right there are, and the paddle boats absolutely describe this as Echo Park,
nice.
Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
I just was more conveying my ignorance, not worried about doxing here or anything. But
Yeah.
I'm originally from Australia. I immigrated to Canada 12 years ago, but I haven't been to that part of California. So I was just more so curious because on average, you're probably more likely to sit down with someone that sit down with you is more likely to be religious, right? So,
Well, more likely than like the average of Los Angeles, which I'm guessing that overall Los Angeles is like a 60-70% kind of thing. And in this area, crank that up by at least another 10 or 20. This is probably an 80% religious zone.
right, yeah, it's because that all just seems so foreign to me that all the communities I've lived in have been largely secular. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
We are so far from like being in Amsterdam or Sweden or something. It's
yeah.
when people find out I'm an atheist, it's like, huh? They make those?
Yeah, which
They let those out of the factory?
which is funny because I have the exact opposite experience. It's more interesting and surprising to me when I encounter somebody religious in passing. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
At that.
One of these days I'd like to go to Paris and see if it feels different. I mean, more than just Frenching. It seems like they have they hold their secularity like a national identity. Interesting to see how that felt. So, question for the audience, especially if you're willing to type in the answer. In 29 minutes, I'm due to get my IV infusion, and that's going to go in this PICC line, which is a bit like a fancy kind of an IV. Doesn't mean we're going to poke holes in me. We're just going to stick tubes on this. And I have the choice of doing it right here on camera, or I have the choice of retiring to the air-conditioned car and like that. It's going to take 30 minutes for the little, it's a little bit bigger than this. It's like a inflated one-time use racquetball. They call it an easy pump. And the whole pump is just this elastic thing, and it takes 30 minutes to infuse. I can stick it in my pocket. There'll be a line going in. Is this the kind of thing that might gross people out, mess people up? Are you curious? I'm perfectly willing to share what that looks like. It's not going to be needles going into me. It's just going to be hook up a tube. It's going to be obsessive little cleaning with alcohol.
Could we have a
That kind of
dedicated camera on it?
I could move to the camera to where I take up a lot of the space. I'll probably sit on that side so that my right arm is facing you and Kimberly, and yeah, sure, we could zoom in on it if you want, if anybody's curious as to the process.
I don't do well with blood.
There will be no blood.
Well, yeah.
You wouldn't show any blood. They can do blood samples out of this because of the nature of the PICC, but in this case, there's going to be 4 steps. First, a very slowly dispensed saline solution, about 9 cc's. That's just to make sure the line is nice and clear. And then they'll stick on the infuser bulb, which will just slowly pump in the antibiotic. And then we'll do another, once that's done, 30 minutes later, we'll take off and push another tube of saline, and then a tube of heparin, which is to keep any clots from encouraging from happening, which is one of those dangerous risks. And that'll be it. So it's just 4 things being pumped in, one with a pump and the other 3 with just syringes. And each of those takes about 30 seconds.
Changes the focus of the SE a little bit. But...
Yeah, it just whether I should take that off camera or not.
Would you have a conversation with someone while that's happening? Would that be distracting?
it might be distracting to them. It won't be an issue to me. As long as it's done well, there's no sensation. I mean, I can feel you fiddling with this, but this goes around the back and it doesn't feel like anything where it's poking me. This is just a tube and a sleeve, and
Look,
it doesn't feel at all invasive to me.
There's entire YouTube channels devoted to popping pimples, so I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Okay, very good. Yeah, the Bloody Nine is sensing discomfort and read.
Well, our goal is to get conversations, and if that's happening, would that keep people away?
Yeah, that's the other thing is if it gets in the way of the primary goal, then definitely it's not worth it. I mean, if it took 5 minutes, it wouldn't matter. But this is one of those things. The focus would be, 5 minutes, and then 30 minutes where nothing's going on, and then another 5 minutes. So it may, and it easily, like after the dispensing, I don't have to get to it right away. If I waited a half an hour for the next step, it wouldn't matter. So I could make sure that it wasn't overlapping with any conversations.
Whatever you want to do. I think this spot is better than the other spot.
Yeah. So somebody asked, let's see, Jeff is out. Could someone potentially be convinced through using SE that they have bad reasons for what they believe? Yes. We could have a good reason that we mistakenly come to believe is a bad reason. We could mistakenly come to believe that something's a fallacy. Also, could they have bad reasons for what they believe? A significantly low confidence, sure. Yet that belief is actually true. Does that make sense? Absolutely. A lot of people believe true things for bad reasons. That's really common, because if a thing is true, you never get the pushback to examine your reasons. So you might have believed that your car air conditioning runs because the air is flowing over the car in some way, and you never got fixed that this, you never understood how it actually worked, right? There's so many things where, as long as what we're believing is correct, we never get disturbed to check. So of course we could have that. Additionally, we could believe a correct thing for a good reason, and then from erroneous input come to believe that that reason is fallacious when it isn't. Sure, of course we could.
Yeah, Bloody Nine has a good way to say it.
Yeah, you can ride the bike really poorly and still end up at your destination. Yeah, I mean, and the odds are against you. If you're believing for good reasons, your odds are better believing a good conclusion. If you believe for bad reasons, your odds are against believing a good conclusion. But it's just odds. All sorts of ways. You get false positives, false negatives. And that's a lot of why my opinion should matter. What my opinion about what's fallacious or not, if all I did was inculcate you with how I sort for fallacies, that's not nearly as good as let's just talk about it and you come up to yourself. Because you'll recognize fallacies. You don't need me to recognize them for you. You might ask my opinion and feedback, and hopefully my opinion shouldn't strongly move you one way or the other, but a whole bunch of people's opinion might have some weight for you, especially people whose epistemology you really respect and trust. I've got a science teacher that I put a hell of a lot of weight on what she says, that even if I don't understand it, I just assume she's probably right, because when I do understand it, she's very consistently right. So it's okay for me to take that as a default. As long as I understand there's no 100% confidence anywhere, no matter what. Everybody can be wrong.
Did you watch our review of your video, Mark?
You reviewed my video?
Yeah, we did a review show on Thursday for your
My video?
your video on the on your video.
Oh,
I think we're.
I didn't know it was
think
my
that one's
video.
still on my to watch list. Hello.
no, I had no idea.
And I think it was the trans.
Would you like to do an
Yeah.
interview?
Video?
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh, I gotta watch it. Because I think, as you guys know, it was my wife's birthday and I had to bail. I didn't realize you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
continued. I didn't realize you continued on. What the?
Is Anthony in bed? What the
Hey,
hell,
guys.
Anthony? What is that?
Late rising today, Anthony?
Well, I went
you
tubing
taking
with
your
my family at
afternoon
the-
nap?
Pretty much. It's kind of a rainy day. We went tubing with the family at the river.
Nice.
Nice.
Family tubing.
Awesome. Tubing. Okay.
I didn't want to do it, but they kind of cajoled
You
me into
didn't?
doing it. No, I
Wow.
don't like that
Oh,
shit, man.
what-
Going down a river
Like
and
being-
tube and
Oh, just kind of like the lazy river
Is-
thing. You're not
Is it
behind
too
a
out of
boat.
control or boring, or what's the
Well,
thing you
I
dislike about it?
I didn't know what to expect, for one thing.
Ah.
And, I'd seen some videos on TikTok. They just started coming up, maybe because we were talking about it. I don't know. But
Sure.
there's like these little spillways, and you kind of pick up speed, and you get turned around, and sometimes you get thrown from your tube.
Okay.
Oh shit.
There are like three of
Howdy.
those.
You are so welcome to be our interview next.
Yeah, we'll be here.
We're here till 4. You can choose any topic you like. You can set the timer anyhow you like. And our goal is to not argue from a different position, but just to hear you out. We are live streaming right now.
Yeah.
I will jump out this seat. Thank you. Oh yeah, I
You
will
jumped
leap
up?
the fuck out this seat. Yes, I do.
You're next anyway, so.
Yeah, I will
Hey,
jump
Mark,
out this seat and then sit in that one. But
Yeah. Who's questioning?
I'll be
question?
questioning next.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reed's had one.
That
It's
looks,
my turn.
that looks like a very comfy nap place.
Dude, this. Yeah, my bed rocks. I don't want to leave my bed sometimes. It's awesome.
Nice.
Got the pillows going on. Yeah, it's good. Hey, Mark, I listened to your
Good thing.
Clubhouse thing, or some of it.
Oh yeah, well it's pretty long, so yeah.
I didn't get to
Cool.
listen to the whole thing. It ended, but I listened to, I don't know, 30 minutes of it. I thought it was
Yeah.
really great.
Oh cool, yeah. And I just learned that you guys reviewed my video, and I had no idea. I had
Oh,
I just got back into town, and I didn't know, so I'll have to check it out. It's hard for me to watch those, but I'll do
Cool.
it. I'll muscle through it. I know I made some missteps, but I'm good at it.
oh, we all do all the time.
Nothing
Yeah.
bad. Nothing
all
that
do
lost
all the
rapport.
time.
no,
nothing.
no, it's all good. It's all good. And she's
Yeah.
coming
Dowd, I'd
back.
love to have you back on our review videos,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah, that.
I was thinking afterwards. Your interviewee, Mark, had like a folder full of papers, and I was thinking, she must have been prepared to give you facts.
Oh, I know. And
Yes.
I told her, I was telling her, like, you can bring them, but
We won't be using them
yeah, I know.
necessarily.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
And,
pretty much you're gonna get facts, and we're gonna say stipulated.
yeah, noted.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, but I actually learned a lot from that video, you know? Just, I was in my own
Sweet.
head, especially towards the end. I was in my own head, like, what am I not seeing? Like, you know, I know there's a piece missing that I wasn't getting, and then, you know,
Yeah.
now I can see it better, which is cool.
But you haven't
Yeah.
watched the review that we did yet. Is that right?
Not yet, no.
Okay, maybe that'll help.
I haven't either. It's on my list. I got plowed under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was slightly
Yeah,
distracted that day.
And there's definitional confusion of terms.
Hey.
Definitions.
You may have my seat. You can set the timer however long you want. You can pick any topic you like.
Want to do it? Okay. Okay. No.
Oh no. So close.
Yeah, it's that conversation hinges so much on definitions, and you still even got to like fundamental issues in the philosophy of science,
Mm-hmm.
and that's hilarious. It's very funny.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to see it. I had no idea. I just assumed you guys did a different video because I don't know if mine. Huh.
I want to do a review of one of my videos, but I'm not sure what would be a good one to do. I was thinking that the tutorial video with Paul might be a good one because it's not only the discussion, it's me commenting on it. And I was thinking we might find faults in my interaction with him as well as the advice that I gave back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, some of that stuff may not hold up today that we might want to tear into.
Maybe. Worth a try. Step 1, makes your requirements less dumb. Question everything. Heck yeah.
What would your interlocutor think if they sit down with you at the park and Anthony is the one asking the questions from bed?
They won't see me, I don't think. Do
If
they?
Right now I have the YouTube playing here on a tablet in front, so they would see you with a delay, and I could take this tablet away.
When I Google street epistemology, I get Anthony. When I Google street epistemology, I get your tutorial 1 video from October 2014.
I know it's got to go.
Tutorial.
I think we need to pull.
that.
I think I'm going to start pulling those down, man.
Okay.
I think those older videos, I'm gonna go in there and change the title so that they have the date first, probably in brackets like 2015.
Okay.
And then maybe SE instead of street epistemology, and then I'm gonna probably make it unlisted eventually. But
Okay.
I'll put it in public playlists so people can still find them if they want to, but they won't come up in a search.
Cool.
Yeah, because
So
I
it'd
think
be a list of the old ones that are no longer listed.
Would they be in the
Yeah, that's
back
a good
catalog
one.
of the channel? Because I found it valuable to see your progress in your old
I
videos
know.
versus your new ones. When
I
I
know
haven't seen
that-
Yeah.
people do find value in watching the older stuff because they can see the growth, but for people that
Yeah.
don't know the difference, they think that's what SE could be, and if it's not,
Yeah.
What do you
if it's
think is
dated,
most,
if it's outdated, then
The
it shouldn't
playlist,
show up.
early Anthony,
what do you
watch
think is
with
most
caution.
dated from your early ones?
Well, that's another thing I want to do is I want to put up. You can have up to 5 cards pop up on a video, which is just sort of like a link, and I'm going to
Sure.
have that link pop up 5 times on each of those videos, saying, "This is old."
Yeah,
Watch something more
annotations as
recent.
well, right? Could
You know.
say this was in the beginning stages. Yeah, annotations would help.
Who is this?
Yeah. We've
Well,
learned a hell of a lot
I-
since then.
My name's Joe Anthony. I just randomly came
Hello,
on here
Joe.
and Reed was kind enough to let me
Oh,
hang
hello,
out.
Joe.
So,
I think you're
yeah.
the Bloody 9, is that right?
Yeah, we
Oh,
actually
good boy.
chatted
Yeah.
a couple of days ago,
Oh.
Anthony, on an SE practice on the SE Discord. So I just
Cool.
got involved with it all, and yeah.
So Anthony, what if looking back at your videos, what is the primary change that you've noticed if you look at them to now? I haven't
Well,
seen them in a long time.
they're very religious focused for one thing. They're too heavily
Yeah.
focused on the claim, I think, when it's reasons and methods. Like you were saying in your talk on Clubhouse, and this came up in our discussions on the course. Like, it's really just about the epistemology and the reasons.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of my earlier stuff maybe was too focused on religious claims.
Mm-hmm.
That type of stuff.
You're so much better at shooting messengers now.
Yeah. So I want to phase those out, but leave them still accessible for people like Joe,
Sure.
whoever wants to speak.
It's good to have the archive available and good not to not have it on the front page. I mean, I don't mind
And
the
maybe
playlist on the front page, but however.
Right, and maybe other content creators can consider doing something similar. Over time,
Oh, yeah.
we phase those out so that they're less likely to pop up, just because we recognize that they're not the best examples. Which is going to suck, to be honest, because like you take a video that has 100,000 views out of your, if you mark it as unlisted, you lose those number of plays on your channel. I don't know how it affects your rankings or your likelihood to show up or whatever.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Nathan.
But I
Can
think
you
it's worth it.
selectively demonetize specific channels? I
Well, it
mean,
would
channels, sorry.
demonetize.
Can you selectively demonetize specific videos?
Why would you want to demonetize them?
I'm trying to think of getting them not promoted while I'm not unlisting them. Leaving them listed, but
Oh, I see.
discourage their promotion.
I don't know.
Well, that assumes that you'll get broader, you'll get more views if you monetize. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
necessary.
because if you're monetized, YouTube will promote you more. I know that
Yeah, 'cause
happens
they
at the
want-
channel level because I'm not monetized. I miss out on some significant promotion. Like I was also in the hospital listening to some soft jazz music, 4-hour piece of this stuff, and they had intentionally not monetized that that video so that it wouldn't get any commercials in the middle of it. There was a commercial at the opening and a commercial at the end of 4 hours, but no commercials, no breaks in the middle, and that was real nice for kicking back and listening to music for an extended time.
Well, I'm only 900 some odd subscribers short of being monetized.
Haha. Yeah.
900 short of
Yeah,
being-
I'm
Not
about
the
600, and I'm
Not
not
the-
actually
We
planning to
gotta
opt in
change
on the
that.
monetization.
See, I want to get you guys numbers up, so maybe we can do a review on my channel.
Sure.
Well, you did just start your channel like, a couple months ago, Mark, so
Yeah. I'm just.
I don't think I've hit the threshold yet either, but I'm pretty close.
It's a
or
thousand.
getting
It's
there
a
anyway.
thousand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How's it
that'll
going,
work.
Nathan?
Hey, it's going well.
Hey,
I
Nathan.
talked to Tyrone today. Went on his
Hey,
radio
how is
show
he?
for a minute. He
Nice.
seemed good. Seemed
Is he
well.
gonna ever join us for a review video or anything like that?
Oh, I didn't suggest it, but I probably should have.
Always invite him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
He's got a set schedule that he really likes. Ty.
Yeah.
Oh, Tony.
Yeah, Tyrone Wells.
Always got a set schedule.
Yeah, he's a very, very busy individual. He has important things to do in this world, having to do with fibers and masks and filters and things in laboratories. Making a better N95 mask.
Definitely. He's always working on that filtration system.
Yeah. That
And a lot of foot traffic there today? Is anybody out there?
Not really.
It's low to medium for here. And we're not getting a lot of traction. People are showing up in groups where they're interacting with each other a lot, so we're not getting a whole lot of it's harder to distract them.
Yeah, there's a trade-off with foot traffic and audio quality.
Sure.
Right.
Howdy.
Yeah, you need.
Yeah,
like,
and a whole lot of
groups
the
of
people
one
are
walking
just
by.
yeah, not many groups of one walking by. If we have a group of two, it's pretty easy, but if there's three, it's really hard to pull them. 'Cause, they don't want to make their friends wait.
I'll put the chairs over there in the shade.
Yeah,
Maybe that'll help.
a little inviting. Oh, and would you move the ice to the shade? Actually, I bet we should just stick the ice in the. I'm gonna go stick the ice in the. Oh, he's doing it.
Are you guys? Oh, sorry.
We're giving
Are you
away
guys
water.
interested in gonna do poker tonight?
Yeah, I was gonna do, but I hope that you're there. I'm gonna take all your money.
Yep.
I was about to say, hey, let's play some poker. And Anthony, I need you to come to poker tonight. So I think I'm gonna be there.
My sucky play is becoming that apparent. Okay.
You just take bold risks often.
Yes.
Maybe reel in the bold risks a little bit.
Maybe I need
What
to
am I
do that.
saying? You should take all the bold risks you'd like. I think that's good. It's good for me anyway. I
Yeah.
finally got to editing video this week again.
Nice.
So I should have a new video out this week the next week, and hopefully I'm like editing my third one, so hopefully it'll be 3 weeks in a row with content.
Oh, good. Hey,
Yeah.
did I tell you? Oh, yeah, you've seen one of them. I've had my third talk with Faith about her Catholic belief, God belief, on Zoom.
Recently?
Yeah,
Like in real life?
We had our third talk yesterday.
Oh,
Nice.
great.
Yeah, so I introduced the flying man example.
Ooh.
Did you really? I've never seen you use the flying man
I've never
before.
used it, but
I
I
bet you
used it,
haven't.
and
No.
it was interesting. I
Ooh,
got
that's
some
the first
pushback.
flying man.
Well, I got some
You got
I
pushback.
wanted to- Yeah, she said, but
Nice.
well, first she agreed to it, and I was explaining that I've got this friend Doug who has his great ancestor.
Uh-huh. Anthony did use flying man first time yesterday.
Oh, on the Zoom
And she went
combo with
along
your
with
family
it.
member?
It's a friend. It's a family friend.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But she went along with it, and then she surfaced some other thing like, well, but my book has miracles in it. And I said, well, this book does too. And then she said, at that point, she said, well, but wait a second, this book doesn't exist. Like, I need to see the book in order to go along with the thought experiment. So then we talked about her resistance to the thought experiment. But here's what I was thinking. It seemed like what was really interesting is I said, hey, if you want to see the video, there's a video with my friend Doug where he does this experiment, this thought experiment. And I just said it in passing. Well, she emailed to me today asking for the link to that. So I took the clip and I sent her the link to it. So she's at least thinking about it. But here's what I was thinking. If she does not want to participate in the hypothetical, what I was thinking is saying, what if we heard the claim that Doug's grandfather flew across the Grand Canyon a month ago? And we don't necessarily believe it, but we want people 2,000 years from now to believe it. Can we construct something along the same lines? Like if there's a miracle in your book, we can add a miracle to this book. And if we did everything like that, could we convince people 2,000 years ago that this was indeed true? I'm trying to find a way to sort of acknowledge that yes, this isn't written down, but it could be. We literally can write this down and get a lot of people 2,000 years from now to think that this is true if we follow your logic.
Yeah.
So that's the direction I was thinking about going, but I'm not sure if that's...
The interesting part is you're asserting we don't think it's true. And I think that's going to catch her up. And if you had... So somebody thinks something is true, but all they have is the word of their friend. Could they write a book that would convince people way better than they're convinced? Could they write a book that contains better reasons to believe than just the word of their friend?
Well, see, what I'm suspecting is going to happen is I'm going to make this proposal to write the book, and then let's say she agrees to it, and then she says, well, there needs to be miracles in it, and I say, okay, let's jot a few down. What I suspect is she'll say is, but we have no way of telling if those miracles happened or not. And I'll say, now that's interesting, right? Like that's the discovery, is that the book that we create together will not live up to her own standard, yet that's the standard she's using to accept the stories in her book.
Yeah. And we can copy miracles out of all sorts of historical things. You know, we could go to Homer's Iliad and see if there's some miracles in there we could grab. You know, maybe our miracle is the miracle of the sirens, who have an unresistible call.
See, what I'm thinking is that whatever miracle she
Miracle
points
of
to
Achilles.
in her book, we can come up with something comparable and jot it down and put it into our book.
Sure.
And now our book has the same miracle or a similar miracle in it.
I want to... And we're doing interviews as well if you're interested. All right. What's your dog's name?
Tango.
Tango, nice.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. So Kimberly's due here anytime.
All right.
You guys should just be cooking bacon at the table. I mean, I'm veggie.
Oh.
I eat veggie, but like if you cook bacon out there, you just like the smell would just permeate everywhere. You're like, oh, you get some
roast
free bacon.
How about if we
Just
roast
sit down,
coffee?
Give me a piece of your mind.
And then Anthony gets a
Vegans will get behind roasted coffee.
Vegan claims.
Sure.
That would be a decent way to get started on it.
You better believe it. It'd be great stuff.
There are people hanging out
Have you guys-
all on
Oh, yeah.
the hill, but no
It's like
one's
there's a little hill here, and every tree has a shade, and right now all but one of them are filled with plots of people. There's one large one that has 3 plots of people in it. 4, sorry. There's one little tree over here that doesn't have any people under it. Although there's somebody walking toward it, and
Now it does.
yeah, and she's sitting down. We are at full capacity.
Have you guys had any talks today?
We've had one. It was a pretty good one. It was on medicine hesitancy. It was great. Reed did that one, and the guy was strongly pro-medicine, pro-vaccine, the great need for us to do it, and recognition that if there is any danger at all to the vaccine, it is extremely slight. And
had to talk
it
to
so far
somebody-
is effective, and hopefully the Lambda thing doesn't figure out a way around it. Stuff like that.
Nathan, what?
I had to talk with somebody about vaccines recently. I was at there's a place called Naked Falls, even though it's not a nude place, in Washington.
Interesting.
A beautiful place. It's like lots of lava rock that's been exposed, like the river carves into it. We're sitting in the water. It's like 100 degrees out, and we were talking about vaccinations. And well, she asked me how my interviews were going, and I was like, oh, recently we were interviewed by David McCraney on the You're Not So Smart podcast, and this is what we talked about, like blah blah blah. And I think we talked about vaccines a little bit in the past, and I knew that she wasn't vaccinated, we started. She started asking me questions about that, which opened up the dialogue about vaccinations and the current debate online and all sorts of media about why there are so many people that are not taking it, and having better conversations around that subject with those people. And so first I asked her about, can you tell me about how people have treated you in the past when they're pro-vaccine and you seem to not get it? How do you feel that they treat you? Are they treating you well? Are they telling you what to do? How do you just feel about it overall? And that was a great way to break the ice in the conversation, just to empathize with them as to why it is that they feel resistance with other people who are pro-vaccination. So we resonated on that level, and there's a better way to have a conversation about it, and that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to have better conversations about that. And then
you address the elephant in the room, the immediate judgment.
Right. Yeah, the judgment. We're both people. We're both trying to figure out the best way to go about to do things. And then from there, I talked about how epistemology and the nature of truth, and how the survey works, and digging through that. We explored what the word "true" means a little bit, and then we explored the differences between facts and oughts, things that are versus what we should do, and how those things are a little different. We think about them differently, and then we did tic-tacs, and we agreed even and odd or different. And then I did a chess analogy and said, if we had no goal to win a game of chess and we had a board in front of us, would you think it matters how we move across the chessboard? And she said no. And I said, if my goal was to win the game of chess, would there be an objective sense, kind of like the tic-tacs, of the best ways to move given what your opponent how your opponent has moved, or at very least, wrong ways to play the game of chess, like ways to lose faster, right? And then there's
there
like
are
this
objectively
idea that's
bad
the
moves
opposite
that
of that.
are easy to determine. It's harder to objectively determine what the best move is without an intense analysis, but yeah.
At least better and worse moves.
Yeah, totally better and worse, and
Better
in some
and worse
cases,
moves.
objectively bad moves.
Yeah, and I just did it in a way that was like asking whether or not they thought this way too about achieving goals. And so we might not have the same goal, though if we have the same goal, is there a right or wrong way?
Yeah.
Regardless of how anyone thinks about it, right? And applying that like abstract notion to chess was really helpful in me asking if our goal was to prevent the spread of this disease or prevent the number of deaths, let's say.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Is there
Minimize
a
the number of
strategy
deaths.
that would actually work best in this way? Like either you not taking it, like your one action of either taking it or not taking it, is there one objective way that would prevent the spread? Especially if everyone thought the same way about the way you're thinking about it. So if everyone did what you did, how would the world look different than if everyone did the opposite of what you're doing?
Right.
And it got a little rocky a bit because it was like grappling with it, and then there was kind of deflecting a smidge, though. I just like paused and like let it go, and I didn't say anything, and then I just moved on. There were like other people in the river, and we just talked about other stuff for a while, and then she brought it up again later, which is great because now I'm not imposing anymore. So like 15 minutes go by, they've been thinking about it for 15 whole minutes, and then we're bringing it up again. We're talking about it more, and
where did she pick it
the
up?
next day?
Brought it up?
Where did she pick it up? Just like she was worried that I was avoiding the talk, and that she thought maybe I was too uncomfortable, and moved on. And I was like, oh, that's so crazy, because I felt the same way about you. I didn't want to impose a conversation that was tense for you if we think so differently about this thing. But I do this as a hobby. Like, this is fun for me. And I'm actually the first person in the room to go talk to people I disagree with. So, like, do you have any questions for me? And she said, not really. And then I said, can I ask you a few more questions then? She said, yes. And then I asked for her biggest reason. And I said, if your reasons were like a pie chart, what would be the biggest reason why you're not like going to get a free dose of medicine that could, I mean, do you think it's helpful, or what's the biggest reason for not taking it? And she essentially said, just it's inconvenient. And maybe this wasn't her reason. Maybe her real reason was something else. Though the way she described it was, it just wasn't convenient, and it was not worth her time, or not. She wasn't worried about the virus in the first place because she's taken the antibody test like 2 or 3 times and hasn't shown any antibodies. So if she made it a whole year without any precautions, then it's not gonna affect her or happen to her, or maybe her immune system's high.
Which fallacy?
Oh boy.
It seems like a few. I wasn't really sure. I was like, I wanted to ask, but I didn't ask. I wanted to ask, like, do you think because you have no antibodies that you can't catch this? Or what's the thinking behind that? I could have explored that, but instead I just said, what did I say to that? I can't remember. From here on out, it's a bit hazy. We were in the hot heat.
It'd be interesting to explore the inconvenience angle on it. Like, could you think of something more inconvenient from not getting the shot? Like, I would think being in a hospital for 2 weeks would be pretty inconvenient. But I wouldn't want to say it. I would want to ask if she could conceive of something that might be more inconvenient.
This reminds me so much of climate change denialism.
I'd be curious if someone just hypothetically showed up at her door with a shot and like, okay, pull up your arm.
I was thinking about that. If someone knocked on your door, would you do it?
I think I did ask that. I think I did something similar to that. Like, yeah, if it was right here, would you take it? The thing though is, it's weird. I wonder if they're still thinking about their main reason, because they went through the trouble of making like a vaccination card that's fake. So like,
Right,
if we're
oh
gonna go
my
through the
gosh.
trouble, if we're gonna go through the trouble to do that, then why do that when you could just go get it, the real thing? But like, there's a large portion of Oregon that's not vaccinated.
Yeah,
That's where
yeah.
I'm at, and it's a lot of appeals to nature fallacies.
They're outdoors
You know?
a lot and that type of thing. It's healthier here. What,
Just because it's natural. Yeah.
My advice to anyone listening, if you hear an appeal to nature fallacy, and you're having a talk about any kind of vaccine, I like to build a golden bridge by talking about, by kind of reenacting George Carlin's sketch. Do you know this George Carlin sketch? Back in my day, we used to swim in raw sewage. It made our immune system stronger, right? It's funny. And then it loosens them up a little bit. Be like, yeah, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger is like an old saying, probably mostly false. But anyway, I mean, we need to have some kind of immune system exposure when we're little. There's some truth to that. Though, is that really what's going on here? And if you could just trick your body into thinking it's sick when it's not, so that way when you are sick, you don't have all these like long-term health consequences, would you take that opportunity?
Why don't you just do that the next time you have a headache? Trick yourself
Do,
into
do
thinking
what?
that.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like believing.
Like I like
placebo
Dolly. I was
effect.
talking to Dolly the other night. He was talking about it's not so much about vaccine hesitancy or acceptance as it is medical acceptance or hesitancy, and maybe framing it in terms of just going broader initially. Like, do you generally accept medicine when it's offered to you, or do you initially show some resistance? And you know, why are you perhaps being more cautious with this one as opposed to medicine in the past? Have you been vaccinated before? Were you equally concerned about it then? What makes this different? And that's
Right.
usually where you get some good answers, like, well, it's not FDA approved yet, or it seems like it's been rushed through, or I feel like this is being jammed down my throat, and that wasn't the case with these other vaccines, so now I'm more suspicious about it or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you taken
All right.
supplements? And are those FDA approved? FDA.
I'll see you guys later tonight.
Right. See ya.
Yep.
Thank you.
In any case, I got a nice text message the next day saying that they were thinking about it now that they're more. What did they say exactly? They said something like they're more open to the idea of going to get it, which is great. Yeah. Look at this. Hey, Nathan, I used that SE survey for my class last week, and it went really well. Awesome. Glad to hear it. I wonder how it went. Was it recorded? That's what I really want to know.
What kind of
Record
class?
it. For my class. Oh, good point, yeah.
So the podcast is going to appear a week from today. Is that right?
Who knows?
I think he said the week. I think it was going to be 3 weeks because he said next week, the day we did the interview, and then he said maybe the week after, so 2 or 3 weeks. It was, but I can't share it. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, great. The recording is really all that matters. You recorded it, so you can listen back. And
I want to do an interview.
You can listen back and improve in the parts you want to improve on. Look for your mistakes, and yeah, that's a great way to get better. How many people were in your class? That's what I want to know. The bigger the group, the more difficult the survey interview process can be.
Is it linear, or if you have twice as many people, is it less than twice as difficult, or if you have twice as many people, is it more than twice as difficult?
It depends on the difficulty of each IL and
Okay.
combining them.
So it varies with the
Yeah.
crowd whether that might be the case.
Yeah,
All right.
if we all did the survey together, it would probably go really smoothly, but we would talk so much that it would go really, really long.
Yeah, we
Average
really
person
like to
off
get
the
deep on all those things. Really detailed. I thrive on detail. Oh, cool detail. Your talk with Anthony on critical race theory.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Not the Anthony who just left, a different one. Generated a good bit of. Well, I had a good time talking in the chat with people in the text,
The comments
the
section?
comment section,
Okay.
and that generated a talk on critical race theory with Quade Snell. I will live stream 10 a.m. Pacific Wednesday.
You're going to be talking with Quade about
I'm going to be. I have an appointment with Quade for live stream to talk for CRT.
Nice.
10 a.m. Wednesday, 1 p. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, where he is.
Uh-huh.
So
Sweet.
synergy. That just happened while you guys were talking. I was just checking email and things and followed that through.
Yeah, you like your injection or whatever?
Yeah, and it totally sloppy. Kimberly texted that she was running late.
Okay.
She pulled some serious all-nighters while I was in the hospital, and she's burned it on both ends, and
Yeah.
I really appreciate the gift. It was major, important. There were some nights in there where I was so insane that the only thing that allowed me to sleep was her touching my feet. It was really quite the experience, and so she's still recovering from that and catching up with her sleep.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. I will so jump out of this seat. Yeah, you can have the water too.
I'm trying. There we go.
We're both trying to click on that comment. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was most agreement on someone can be certain if something is true yet still be mistaken, and it's beneficial to find out when I'm wrong about something.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, what's your argument? I was the sole person listening on your live stream the other day. You never looked at the text chat. Not even once. I'm not shaming you. It's okay. I was enjoying the whole process. I finally bailed on another live stream from my friend Jamie come up, and sorry, she outranks you. We were listening to a long analysis of a thing on modern day debate. Oh, and a technical note. What's your argument? One of these, you see these little spiderwebby things that hold onto the microphone? The thing that they do is they keep the bangs from the table from getting on there, and yours doesn't have that, so every time you thump the table, and I'm listening on headphones where the bass is really up there, it's like,
We're open for interviews if you're interested. We'll be here for a while.
and don't worry about the apologies. That's strictly a tech note. And only from one creator to another. For most people aren't listening on headphones, and the tablets don't reproduce bass for shit, so it wouldn't matter.
So I'm going to an anti-vax rally tomorrow afternoon.
Nice.
Cool.
Wear a mask.
Why?
If you're vaccinated and outside. It's
Dirty.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. What's up?
Howdy, howdy.
What's up? Good, good. How are you?
Are you our meetup?
I'm on meetup, yeah.
Fantastic.
And I brought my own umbrella, like a schmuck thinking I
No problem.
That's
I'm gonna give
fine.
you. I'm gonna give up my seat here.
Nice.
I'll sit down.
Okay.
What was your name, by the way?
I'm Dolly. I'm juggling lessons.
Okay, juggling lessons.
Yeah.
I don't have a YouTube, but I have a real name. It's Jake.
Yeah, and my real name is Dolly.
Okay, nice to meet you, Dolly.
Thank you.
How you doing, Reed?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Great.
Sorry that I'm a little behind schedule today.
No worries.
I was at my mom's to do some, like, car washing, And then it turned into some getting sprayed by the hose by my stepsister, which turned into jumping in the pool with my mom's dog, and the whole thing.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. How's it been over here?
Okay, we've just been hanging out. Got one conversation so far, but then other people have come on the stream and we chatted with them.
Oh, cool.
General SE community stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been to one of these before, so I don't even know what your format is, but you're doing interviews here, but then you've also got the stream going.
Yes, I also do here. I have like various sources of how I get my SE interviews. It's like here mainly, Zoom, Clubhouse, Discord, and big screen on VR.
I haven't heard of like 2/3 of those, but
yeah,
that's smart though. You're diversifying your asset acquisition.
Yeah. So this spot's meh. We'd like to go back to Runyon Canyon at some point. That's the best spot.
Yeah. Yeah, people are probably pretty like just out here to kind of feel the water and
yeah, it's really pretty. It's super easy to park, but apparently no one wants to talk to us.
Yeah. All right. I've been thinking about our discussion.
About falsifiability?
About falsifiability. A good memory.
Yeah, nice.
You probably do a lot of these, so I'm impressed that you like.
And I do have to sync everything, so I can review everything that I go through.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like the heads. Should I put these on?
Yeah, it helps you hear. Helps you hear yourself and me and everything.
Oh yeah, that is a lot better.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, I was thinking about how there was a heads versus tails to my argument. And just if anybody wants to get caught up, it's probably things you already know if you're watching the stream.
Want to summarize with the people watching?
Yeah. So, how do you know what's true? One way might be this notion of falsifiability, where if you've tried to disprove something enough, and you've failed enough ways, and enough people have tried and failed to disprove it, at least this model, given our current ability to test it, is probably true. And conversely, you have these other claims where, as fervorously as people might defend it, you can't actually come up with a way to test it. And because of that unfalsifiability, you can't attain the same level of certainty as you could about that first thing you said, where you test it, and continue to fail to disprove it. So the head or tails thing that we got to was, like the two sides of the coin, I mean, is if I have this rule, like the very first rule for just skimming all of the cream off of the top of the milk, of all the claims that I want to just throw out right off the bat, everything unfalsifiable. What I might be missing are those claims that are true, but that we just don't have any notion of testing yet. Like the many worlds quantum stuff.
Yeah.
Supposedly, that doesn't contradict any of our math about the world, but we don't get letters from parallel universes or anything like that. So, yeah, but what I'm thinking about though is is there any point even to that discussion? Because if we're never going to know which of those things are true of the unfalsifiable things versus which are false of the unfalsifiable things, then there's really no difference in whichever way you live your life, one or the other. And at that point you should just become religious, because there are more fun unfalsifiable claims that make you believe really cool things about owning planets and becoming a god, in my experience. Or
yeah, you're also an ex-Mormon.
Yes,
Yeah.
for more context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, it almost breaks down for me into rules for managing conflict. Falsifiability can be framed in that way. If we have a conflict about an idea, we have this rule, this empirical rule, where it needs to be testable, it needs to be public. The particular people are interchangeable for the claim. I think there's a protest happening. It's a church service?
I think this is a church service.
What is this?
So I walked around that side of the lake, and there was
Yeah.
there was this kind of congregation of people speaking in tongues over there,
Oh, whoa.
and it was pretty loud. Like they were just sort of right there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I guess they're out here for some kind of
Are
reason.
they going to be like Pentecostal stuff in the lake going on over there? Baptisms? That'd be
Oh.
interesting.
Yeah, that would be cool. It's a hot enough day to get saved, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Would you want to practice SE with some random person here?
I wouldn't, yeah. Wouldn't be opposed at all.
That's what the meetup is for.
It would be my very first interlocuzation.
Yeah, we can do that. And you want to switch spots?
Okay. Is this guy interested, you think?
I don't know. We'll see. Stand by him.
This is a great setup, too. Oh, got TikToks. Not for either. Oh man, I don't have to. I would love to talk to you.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
You tie that shirt?
I did not. I found it at a Hopper sale somewhere.
Okay, great.
So you're here to talk about epistemology and overwhelming amounts of data.
We're here to talk about what you're here to talk about.
Okay.
Would you like to put on your headphones?
Sure.
Okay. My name is Jacob, by the way.
Okay, nice to meet you, Jacob.
Nice to meet you.
My name is Michael.
Cool, Michael.
I am a student at USC and I'm a data scientist.
Okay.
And I heard you guys talking previously about how data can be overwhelming in this new age where there's a billion different sources of data in media groups and just different groups of scientists nitpicking statistics where you just ask the question like, where do I start?
Okay. So your background in data science is kind of like interpreting data?
Yeah, so what we do is we take large sets of data, like overwhelming amounts of tens of thousands of pieces, collected longitudinal studies or even day-to-day studies, and we break them down and we clean them and extract them, and then we make them where the public can understand them through my reports and then bring that to the media.
Wow. And is there like a sector that you focus on, health or?
I mostly work in public health and epidemiology.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. I know I can't. I noticed you guys were really talking about this stuff, and it was really interesting and whatnot.
Yeah.
And what do you really think about like all the 5 companies owning most of the media, and then them picking the statistics of who knows who?
Yeah. I mean that's quite the topic for discussion, and we could definitely go there today if you'd like to.
Yeah.
So my thoughts, you're asking what I think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are known unknowns and unknown unknowns. And the most frustrating is when there's somebody keeping those unknowns unknown to you. So I feel like that's probably happening. There would be no way of knowing otherwise because they're probably trying to keep it that way.
Completely.
What has your experience been, or what is your interpretation of that?
I mean, especially after like all of this falsehoods of like vaccinations and if they're like, not safe or whatnot. And there's a lot of like, of course, money involved because, the corporations run this country, unfortunately. As a business owner, I can say that.
Yeah.
And, it's mostly all about special interests and marketing. And, well, as political this country can be, there are many unknowns or even conspiracy theories that are true, but like you can't say that in media. But like, it's very difficult to point out specifically, and it's just America's known for that.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
So a little introduction that we like, I don't know what they introduced over there. So we call this street epistemology. My understanding is that this is a technique for having a one-on-one conversation respectfully about a person's beliefs that helps somebody organize their beliefs, maybe in a way that hasn't been organized before, and kind of getting to see your own reflection that way and see what you believe, and asking the question, do you have reliable methods for arriving at this claim?
Yeah.
So a lot of people sit down here and talk about God, karma, the evil eye. I've been hearing a lot about that lately, which is this idea that if somebody like envies you, it kind of curses you. So usually it's these more like metaphysical claims that street epistemology deals with best here. But we can definitely have a street epistemology discussion about, you mentioned like conspiracy theories that probably are true, but just because they're concealing information, you think?
Yeah. And even here in California, like, you know, in terms of the political atmosphere, this is very metaphysical, that, you know, many political groups work together. And, you know, because they're both koi in a pond, really, where they're both giant interest groups that cannot exist like without each other, because there's only one or the other, really.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but there's this meeting up in San Francisco called the Grove, where groups of both the Republican Party and Democratic Party meet every single year to determine the next president and whatnot, and sacrifice people. And again, this is outlandish, but a certain famous media commentator actually revealed these people, and you could watch the whole documentary online on YouTube, on DuckDuckGo, if you've ever heard of that site. And it's really opening, and it connects really like metaphysical ideas that are really the ones being played. And is there like an actual truth, or is it all just a perspective of marketing?
Okay.
And it's asking a bunch of different perspectives to answer that, you know, bigger question.
Yeah. So if you had to boil this topic into kind of like a claim, like a truth claim, something that you would sort of put on a flag and say, I believe X, Y, and Z, would you, I mean, you can have as much time as you need, but would you be able to boil that down, you think?
Yeah, clearly. Like, well, thanks for asking that, but I would say, like, I'd be able to boil it down, like, that there is no Democratic Party and there is no Republican Party. There's rather just marketing and perspectives of those two marketing campaigns that really is just two different businesses making a whole bunch of money off of just false perspectives that aren't necessarily true.
Yeah.
Or it's just all about, well, a lot of that has to do with money.
Okay.
And instead of like actual ideas. That's why I firmly believe that there is no actual Democratic or Republican Party. And it's an awfully confusing sort.
Yeah. So you're saying that instead of, like, the popular notion would be that there's these two ideological groups in America kind of forever pulling on a tug of war and compromising on things, whereas what you're claiming is that this is just the facade, this is like the theater of politics, and that there really is like a back room.
Completely.
You pull the curtain and there's these people with names and addresses that are meeting in San Francisco and deciding who gets to be the president.
Well, it's been confirmed since early 1900s when Taft was president, McKinley was also president, and they showed there Ronald Reagan. And yeah, it's a really odd perspective. And again, people think you're absolutely crazy for this, but it's a lot of it is, yes, marketing. And it's very special though in America. Like, we all have different, you know, ideas these people run off of, but they're all backed by really similar ideas in the end that are just one spectrum of the idea rather than a wrong or a right. And they're all, what really ties into it is, are you familiar with the Federal Reserve and how they're pretty much a private company that controls our money supply, and we pretty much have the infinite money glitch? And either side or perspective or political ideology relies heavily on the Federal Reserve to print invisible money to help our invisible causes for invisible purposes, which is well, often misleading and odd, but from this perspective specifically, but it may be looking too deep into it.
Yeah, I can tell that this is the kind of belief that is pretty broad and has a lot of applications and a lot of different things, like, you know, elections, the Federal Reserve, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if you had to point, and I keep on like trying to lasso you back in, I don't know if you can tell. So if you could point your finger at like maybe the one most damning piece of evidence that you've seen historically, or that we can kind of verify in visible ways. Anything come to mind in that way?
I would say, well, definitely inflation and interest rates over time. And again, it's very broad, but like the farther out of the bigger picture you have to look, the more intricate the details really get. And the larger the interest rates and the higher the inflation.
You got COVID on your brain.
Yeah, COVID, yeah, all these questions and, you know, the Delta variant, yeah, it's just, yeah, would really like leaves that perspective of how the Federal Reserve and these, you know, people, top 1% of people whoever's names they may be, could really control this country, same thing. Because we're all, the whole idea that I'm going to try to wrap this back into is that Americans and people in general are controlled by debt. And this is where I'm going to start into. It's all about debt.
Okay.
Completely.
So we're going to get to the debt, but just before that, I'm a little slow. And then for the sake of the conversation, could you really like lay out the relationship of the inflation to the, you know, the people behind the curtain?
So, so after the Great Depression, FDR set out a gold standard to be tied with the USD currency, where 1 USD would equal X number of gold, flat rate. But instead, after which, excuse me, FDR removed that, where it's off of complete perspective of other countries on how they see our currency's value to be. When created the federal, and both parties created the Federal Reserve, where pretty much allows them to print infinite amounts of money by putting themselves in debt. And you must ask the question, how's that possible? And it's a loop, and by printing more money, there's more money in the supply. There's more money in the money supply, which raises price of assets, such as cars, houses, land, clothes, everything. And that more money in the money supply, you know, substantially puts people also in debt. That's what puts the relationship between all those together. And the more money supply there is, the more debt there is.
Okay, and both parties are complicit in this plan.
Because there has to be a budget passed, and this fiscal budget, 99% of the time, is a large fiscal budget that is, and many people can say, even as fiscal conservative or as a liberal Democrat or democratic liberal, we cannot afford, even though we just print using more money. It's even like, look at this COVID relief. You may ask the questions like, where's our, you know, government getting all this money from? The true question is, we just came up with it, and then how are we gonna? Doesn't that mean more people have money and the price of things will go up, and then eventually putting more people in debt, and then making it harder to get out of debt, making the people who are the lenders more rich.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm understanding better now the connection there. Okay, so another kind of street epistemology style question is to just imagine like a thought experiment. So let's say that we have two hypothetical worlds. The first world, we'll say, is exactly the one that we live in, and for the sake of argument, not to sound like contradictory or anything, for the sake of argument, let's say everything that you just said and more is true, and that it really is the seedy underground San Francisco union of like the two-party society and everything. That meet in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then we can compare that to a second hypothetical world in our thought experiment, which once again is like just like the world that we live in now. And except in this hypothetical world, nothing that you have laid out today is true, but it only seems that way. And, you know, we still have inflation and fiscal policy and all that. So the question would be, how would we know which of those two worlds we're living in?
That's the question. That's really the big question, and it all ties back to due diligence and perspective. And you know, those are
That's
I'll
okay.
get that. Those are the two important things here, and especially even like, do you invest in stocks, or are you relative to cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I dabble in investment.
Even with there's always two different sides of, you know, is this or could this happen, or no, this will not happen. Being bullish or bearish about something is very similar in this context, where if both were alternatively true and are alternatively false, we would have similar likelihood of what may happen to follow, even though there are facts and data that we can nitpick or you know, to study to support both claims. And we would have to follow the due diligence best, even though if all of this is false, there'd have to be something either deeper or something less, something far more broad that could cause an explanation of how, you know, these certain, this unlimited money we have could cause, or how the same people get reelected over and over, and how, you know, deep money is here in America.
Mm-hmm.
And may ask the question, where did the Rockefellers' money go? Where did Carnegie's money go? And even where is all of Apple's money? And is it in the Seychelles? And a lot of that and a lot of those, that data and statistics could really be broken down, and deeper questions can be asked. But again, a lot of this is very broad, because I don't have the statistics right here to back up. And again, so you have to present it as this could either be very false or very true, which is many ways in many things in media.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I don't expect you to have, you know, statistics with you today. It's funny that your background is so quantitative and like, you know, looking for the 99% certainty or whatever for your whatever you're testing, you know. So would you say that you have a comparable degree of certainty in this claim as you do in anything that you test Monday through Friday at USC?
No. Gosh.
Oh my God, we have one of these things. So yeah, this is a certainty scale where at the very left, 0% would be there's no way in hell that this is true, and you're putting it right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what does that mean, that you're right in the middle?
What we completely what we discussed, either that a lot of this evidence is could either be very right or very wrong, which if you ask me is actually quite scary.
Oh,
or
yeah.
it's quite also very dichotomies here.
Is it scarier
It's
to be at 50 than if you had more evidence in one way or the other?
No. I think it would be less scary to have more evidence, but to have less. Wait, let me think about this. If I had less evidence, you wouldn't really think about it, meaning you wouldn't draw more conclusions and make more, you know, go after more, you know, available evidence. So I think I would be happier, or like, I would be more suitable to the claim if it was like here. But if there was more here, you would even go after more evidence and be like, I need to do more like studies right now. Like I need to, we gotta answer this. We gotta figure this out.
So when you're moving that needle back and forth, are you moving into the left as if to say, I have less evidence for this claim?
Yes.
So what if you had more evidence contrary to the claim, and then that's why you moved to the left? Would that be more or less scary?
More scary. because it would either answer us, and it would answer us another question, or like what you said in the beginning here, right when I sat down. Is it, are these people hiding something from us? Are we just the masses that listen to a certain, group of people? Or is it that the science is there and the science is here for us and that no one's really trying to hide anything?
Yeah.
And I would frankly I would agree to the latter, to the earlier where it's, over here for that. Yeah.
So I've kind of asked a couple scenarios of what kind of evidence and which way it moves the needle. Are there any scenarios, whether they be more evidence to the contrary or the affirmative, or less evidence to the contrary or affirmative, are there any scenarios that are less scary for you?
I really wouldn't say any of this is scary. And evidence, you'd have to dissociate from evidence as being scary or not, but more convincing. Like, I understand like your perspective and what you're asking, and I think more convincing, I think more evidence would be frankly more convincing, yes. And less evidence could point to the direction that it is less convincing, yeah. And that tie back to the question, what is that evidence? Who is that evidence from? How reliable is such evidence? And yeah, that's, again, it's a process, definitely. And I could understand why people get confused with all this stuff, especially COVID, where 70-year-old grandma's like, I don't even know who to trust with like the media and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, man. Thanks for coming out here and telling me about this stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, are you guys on YouTube?
Yeah. There's a cordial curiosity. I think it says it on that poster right there.
Okay, well, I'll follow you guys on YouTube. You have a great day. Yeah, I'll
Thanks.
stop by here again and check this out. This is sweet.
Yeah.
Getting, it's all about perspective and all about just talking to people on what they think about metaphysical or whatever, This is
totally,
a great
man.
idea.
You hear some really cool stuff, just like pulling people off the street,
Yeah, because they're just minding their day. They could be thinking about anything.
Yeah. Michael was your name?
Michael, yeah.
Michael, okay, and I'm Jacob.
Jacob? Yeah, I remember you.
All right, thanks, Michael.
Thank you. Yeah, you have a great day. Yeah, stay cool out there.
Was that your first? Nice. Well done.
Thank you.
That was his first.
Oh, your first
You're
one.
my
Great
first.
job.
You got popped his cherry.
You never forget your first.
You ask a lot of great questions, and yeah, like you're really unbiased.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cordial curiosity on YouTube.
Yeah, it does.
Coolio. I see on my little map. In my family, we share our location with each other. It's not because we're like spying on each other or whatever. We just find it really convenient when we're trying to coordinate. So I'll meet you at the... And I see that Kimberly is roughly at the other end of the park. She's getting dropped off. I think she's going to hang out with us for the remainder of the time until 4 o'clock. And she's here to inject some stuff in my pick. If that grosses anybody out, please say so in the text, and I'll take it off camera. Nobody's going to be poking with needles. All that's going to happen is they're going to flush a little saline into the tube, and then put on a little thing about the size of a squeezy racquetball that's going to give me 30 minutes. Over 30 minutes, they're going to put antibiotics that I'm getting 3 times a day. And hopefully that shouldn't distract much.
You want to go to my car and me and Jake can
I'm happy to do that, yes.
do it here?
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go get my meds in the car, and you guys are going to talk.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's probably all I need. And get in and is the climate control on?
No. have to probably break, or I can turn on from here.
Yeah, you can just turn it from here. That way I don't have to get in the driver's seat. Somehow getting in the driver's seat is just one level more intimidating.
Yeah. Nathan, are you there? No, he left. Damn it.
I'm gonna send a link to my Nathan, just in case he's up right now.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know what time it is in Japan.
And I'll send on Discord the link to him as well.
Okay.
It's 8 a.m. in Japan.
Oh,
8 a.m.
Okay.
Great time to tune in.
And I sent the StreamYard link to him as well, so he can join if he wants to.
Nice.
But wow, it was your first time doing SE. That's amazing. Very good job.
Thank you.
And super great tone and rapport. Great vibes in general. Great questions. I love the connecting the confidence to like the psychosocial motivation, like fear. And that was interesting.
Yeah, he seemed to like be using his fear as a metric for his certainty in a way, where there was pretty much no way for him to be less afraid of these people, no matter what he found out, which is like the central dogma of all conspiracy theories, which is the less evidence there is, the more they're hiding.
Yeah. Very interesting. Joe, you were listening in, right? Any feedback?
Yeah, I think if that was your first interview, especially in a live streaming setting, it was fantastic. You just reflected now on the conspiratorial thinking, and I had commented in the chat that it felt like your line of conversation was really good at probing for conspiratorial thinking. I felt like that's where you were going, and I think you did a good job of that, and I perceived that just as being in the audience, so you did a great job with that.
Thanks, Joe.
You're
Yeah, it did seem like towards the beginning I wasn't sure if he was going to have some kind of concrete stuff to point to, like some historical date and names of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, him saying though that having less evidence would make him more afraid was kind of like the linchpin for me of the conspiratorial thinking.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Joe?
I thought perhaps, so he was saying that with less evidence, he would be more afraid of what's going on. I misunderstood to be that he was thinking with less evidence, he would be less confident in his theory, but he wasn't. So whether higher or lower evidence, I don't know. Sure.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I was mistaken. Yeah.
I mean, the unknown is scary, but is it more scary than knowing that the actual bad thing is real and true?
There was a point where what I wanted to clear up when he moved his meter down was if he was moving it down because of evidence to the contrary or a lack of evidence in the affirmative. And then in both of those scenarios, it was more afraid. Whether we have less evidence of the affirmative or more on the contrary, in his mind, both of those would be indicative of like them meddling with the information in some way.
Yeah.
Were there any questions in the chat that the chat would have wanted me to ask at any point in that conversation? Hello.
I don't think so.
Have as much ice as you want.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Is it cold? The cold water? Yeah. There's a baby playing around in the ice water.
Baby's gonna babe.
Yeah. Yeah, watch your argument. Feel free to join in the StreamYard. I sent a link to you on Discord, I think. I think I did. If not, it's in the SE Live channel. And I guess Nathan left. I would have liked to have heard his thoughts as well. And is this still? Yeah, this is still. Everything's. Let me check the wide camera GoPros real quick.
Oh, I didn't see your message earlier. Sorry, I don't have my notifications on.
Yeah.
So how long have you been interested in SE, and how long have you been part of the community? If I might ask.
Probably found Anthony's videos. Like, I remember finding them when I was still a student at Brigham Young University, the Mormon private school in Utah. And at that point, I'd already lost my faith, and I was looking for just any kind of resources about people dealing with faith crises. And I immediately found all of Anthony's videos with Mormons. Like, I think he had one with those missionaries at the time, and then one with a Mormon couple. And I was like, holy cow, this is exactly like the debate that I'm having with myself right now. And yeah.
So
Been
that's going
watching-
back. That's going back years then.
Yeah, like 5 years at least.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But I've never been out here though, regrettably.
Oh yeah.
And so then, were those videos helpful in your dealing with the crisis of faith at the time that you were experiencing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because in the place I was, in like the belly of the beast, if I had raised my hand in Sunday school and said, "Are you sure that faith is a reliable way of coming to these conclusions?" It would have been like, "What are you talking about? God gave us faith so we could be happy." You know? And so seeing other people like looking skeptically at faith and everything, it was like realizing that I'm not the ugly duckling, you know, that there are other ugly ducklings out there. So definitely very helpful at that time.
That's good. I went to a secular school, but my parents sent me to scripture class, and I would always get in trouble for asking questions, even at a really young age. Well, I did it in every class, right? So I didn't stop when I went to scripture class, and I was to the point where they didn't want me coming to the class anymore because I was just continually asking questions. So,
Oh no.
Yeah.
What was the tone of those like classes, and then how did your questions? Like I have these fantasies all the time of being back in Sunday school. Like I'll have dreams that I'm in church again.
Wow.
And then I'm like, wait a minute, isn't this all bullshit? So I'm just curious how that would have happened.
Well, admittedly, it was a fairly watered. Like I was
Yeah,
raised
we're open for
Catholic.
interviews if you're interested. I mean, yeah, if we'd like. If you want to.
What is this for? Christianity?
It can be.
Heck yeah.
You want to do another one, Jacob? I
Yeah,
do it all
sure.
the time.
Sure, yeah.
Sure thing.
So I'm gonna give you my seat if that's okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'll go over to his. I'll try for a second.
Okay.
But if I'm
Put my
really
bag on
fucking
my-
weird, don't ever use it, you know?
Oh, it's okay. Yeah.
It's terrible.
We are live streaming, just so you know. But
Very
nobody
good.
watches this, so,
Okay, cool.
so it's okay. What's your name, man?
James.
Jacob.
Jacob, sick.
So
Nice
let me-
eyes, man.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, thanks.
So let me give you a little rundown of what we try to do here. This is called Street Epistemology.
BYU.
You recognize my shirt.
I went to LDS Business College.
Oh, cool. I have a lot of friends who transferred there.
Yeah, I didn't graduate. I'm not really good at that.
I didn't graduate from BYU either. So did you live in Utah then?
Yeah, for a second.
Cool.
Like 1.5 or 2 years or 3 years or something.
I was there for 3 years.
Nice.
And then I was exiled.
Really?
It was more of like a exodus. You know, I got out of it.
Did you get excommunicated?
No, I left before they could.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Do you hate them?
What's up? I was just talking to somebody about this. You know, it's like depends on what day.
It's a Sunday today.
Yeah, I know. I could have been in church right now, actually.
Same here.
So you were raised Mormon?
Oh yeah.
In Utah or outside of Utah?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
California.
I was raised Mormon in Sacramento.
Ooh, cool.
Or like thereabouts.
Nice. I've knocked on some doors over there for some other companies, like after my mission, like solar panel stuff.
Oh yeah?
It's not very fun.
Where was your mission at?
Colorado.
Oh, cool. That's funny that I find an ex-Mormon on the street here. But
I'm not
we're
really an
everywhere,
ex.
though.
I'm still somebody. Like, hope I'm a bad person already, but like,
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
Sorry for assuming, by the way.
I know, it's okay.
You do seem like a very cool person.
This is
Mormon or
loud.
not.
This is crazy.
Do you want me to turn your levels down? Is that too
No,
loud?
that's fine. It's fine.
Okay. So we do something here called epistemology, and basically the
Episcopalian?
gist is. Thank you, Reed. The gist is the person in that chair has some kind of claim about the world, like a belief. A lot of people talk about God or karma. Just the kind of belief that you can't really prove, but it's always there. It came from your heart or something like that.
Yeah. Stuff's weird. It's interesting. I always test all the waters. I'm just like, oh,
Sure.
okay. Like,
Hey, that's like a very cliche ex-Mormon thing, is to kind of leave Mormonism and then try everything else.
But I grew up in hell, kind of, you know? Like, you didn't see my childhood. Like, it was like, it was very proper and stuff. Everything was okay. But, I like to, like, jump off stuff and run around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And you made it here today. You're still kicking.
Yeah, I think it is. I swear. I've
Still
almost
jumping
died a
off
few
stuff.
times, for sure.
Still jumping off stuff or no?
Yeah. 35. I'm not going to stop. I have to keep going.
Cool. Don't stop.
Bruce Irons, he had a baby. Like, I don't have a baby yet, or kids. But, like, he still charges waves and stuff, and I think that's rad. Because if I was ever to be a man and have kids, I want him to look up to me and not be like a softie. I still want to fucking hold it down to whatever.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, in the ensuing years after your faith crisis, or whatever, happened your way, did you kind of land somewhere, or do you still sort of...
I float everywhere. I really don't even know what I'm doing most of the time, but I'm okay with that. Like, if you, like, I'm kind of a weird person, so I never really did a good job at school and stuff, but I could, like, talk and have fun. But, like, just kind of, like, here. There was no, like, I like to joke about, like, what if I was one of those people that were just meant to, like, just walk up and hit my head on a wall all day? Like, if that's what I wanted to do, then so be it, you know?
Yeah, I had a dog that, like, that was his hobby, I guess.
Nice. So I do kick against the pricks occasionally, like, in the scriptures, what it says, per se. But I'm having fun. I'm with two pretty girls and hanging out on Sunday. But yeah, I'm not at church right now, and whatever.
Okay. Have you, so usually when we're having these conversations, it kind of focuses on a belief.
Yeah.
Which is why I asked if, you've kind of been, like, settling on a belief, or you're just
Yeah, it's
sort of
hard for
skeptical
me.
with everything.
I'm not good at, like, commitment.
Yeah.
Unless it was, like, a mission for a certain period of time, and I could do that. Like, I'm obviously not married or anything.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
One thing I think about with my mission, I was in Brazil for a couple of years.
Nice. You know Portuguese?
Yes.
I worked at Tacano's Brazilian Girl in Salt Lake City.
Oh, very cool.
For a way long time. It was rad. It was fun.
Yeah, I've been there. That's a very cool
Mauricio
spot.
was my meat server. Head lead.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I didn't mean anybody.
I actually was the peixe, the codfish.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it falling and I caught it. It was so heavy, my hand went in the deep fryer. It was terrible. It was like, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was so nervous to tell anybody, so I just kept working, and my hand was like bubbling up.
Oh God.
And then they found out, and they were like, oh, you gotta like put soap on it and stuff. It was pretty fun.
Jesus. Yeah, that should be the first thing to tell you is not to catch the fish if it's falling, right?
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's like fried. Yeah, that stuff's hot.
I worked at a Subway and they would tell me, don't catch the sandwiches if they're falling. Just let them fall.
Nice.
I'm like,
Subway's a good place. They have a good sandwich.
So sometimes I ask myself how I feel about my mission.
Yeah.
Because I don't, believe Joseph Smith was everything that they say he was.
Uh-huh.
But I told a lot of people that he was this big prophet.
Yeah.
Do you feel like conflicted ever about that?
Yeah, because my dad is one person, and my stepdad, I was raised like, I have like variables. But I really feel like was a true prophet. But if we really look into the nitty gritty of all the things, like, I think there's some probably gnarly stuff that saints just choose not to even know about, and they just live their lives and think, oh, like it's like this, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm over that. I don't give a fuck. Like, shit. Like, I'm happy to die if it was my time, but like, I still choose to like, I know if I was being honest, like in the Ten Commandments, like thou shalt not lie and stuff. There's been some pretty hot girls that want to marry me, and their dad's like, oh, but I was like, you have no fucking clue who I am. Like, I'm pretty gnarly. Like, I'm a mess head. Like, I do drugs, I party, and I think my wife is more alternatively outside of that box. And if we find love is more important than anything, I think. So if that's cool, I'm sure God would think that's cool, right?
Yeah. I mean, who am I to say?
I don't know. Yeah, but are you God?
Yeah, that would make this a lot more fun of an interview if one of us was God.
Yeah, I'm sure we could be.
So you mentioned before that you still hold, like, more or less a conviction that Joseph Smith was a prophet.
Well, I don't take the sacrament anymore. I've had sex. I lost my temple recommend and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm chilling. I know where to go to get that, but yeah.
That's pretty, like, I feel like about half the people who leave the church leave because they kind of never believed it and just want to live their life. And then the other half of people who leave the church never really stop believing it. They just sort of want to live their life a different way. So would you say it would be fair to say you fall into that
like
latter
David
group?
Whitmer or somebody?
Where you just sort of like, you want to do your own thing, you pretty much believe most of what you were told.
I'm pretty trivial, I'm not very sure. I think I want to get like 7 more tattoos, and then I'll go straight edge maybe.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if the spirits are talking to me, like he's using what he has.
You're talking
We're
about
all
Noah?
people.
Talking about Noah?
No,
right
in the
now?
ark, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, if he ever tried to find the most perfect person, it's never gonna be like we're people,
Mhm.
you know. So, and if, yeah. So, this is insane. What the hell, are you guys?
Well, it's a coincidence.
Are we
that
done here? This is a very quinky-dink for sure.
Yeah. No, we can be done if you'd like to be done.
Yeah, but this is fun. Thanks. Where did you serve again?
I was in Brazil.
That's fucking rad.
Yeah, I only got back like 5 years ago.
Really? Did you
Just a
what did you
short
do?
time.
Did you go back home?
I went back to BYU.
Did you
where
date
I
a
was
girl? I
studying.
almost got married when I was in there.
Yeah.
The girl started. Yeah, it was interesting.
Mhm.
I think it was a trip. I was a virgin until I was 26,
Yeah.
and then I just fucking like.
Yeah.
It's all interesting though.
Totally.
Is he LDS?
No, I'm sort of the only Mormon in the group here.
Did you think about this whole thing?
Which thing?
Are you anti?
Anti what?
Mormon.
No, I wouldn't say I'm anti-Mormon.
Cool. I think you're a rad dude.
Thank you. Yeah, you seem really cool too.
Thanks. You girls should hear this. This is like we're like totally talking and stuff. I can hear it, but we should go. Yeah.
Thank you for stopping.
Oh my gosh. Just don't use my full name maybe or something.
Oh yeah, we don't even have to use your name.
But my dad was excommunicated, so I don't give a shit.
Thanks for stopping.
Yeah.
What was your name again?
James.
Yeah, it's cordial curiosity.
You're still rocking the Brazilian?
I think I got my Brazilian.
Hell yeah. Rad. My dad's married to Brazilian. I haven't had a Brazilian.
Oh my god, you got a lot of thing about being ex-Mormon is that you're sort of magnetically. We should test this because I believe this.
What the hell? A Mormon? You're an ex-Mormon?
Okay, so my claim. Am I on this camera right now? I would put it at like one tick before 100%. Because I lived in Brazil for 2 years. God knows why, but I run into Mormons, I run into Brazilians everywhere I go.
Really?
And it's not the confirmation bias. I'm sure if you looked at, I would be outside of the noise, you know, statistically.
Uh-huh.
I actually don't believe that, but it does feel that way.
That was a funny coincidence.
Yeah.
Very funny. Yeah, interesting guy.
I like that when you're sitting here with the headphones on, it really makes you focus on the conversation, because...
I know, yeah. It adds a little bit to it.
Totally. I mean, that guy was like, you guys should see this, it's trippy.
He put the mic down, he didn't want to hear himself or something?
Maybe.
Or did it just fall down?
I don't think it was too loud. I think he just got weirded out by hearing his voice through the headphones.
Oh, okay.
But the levels feel okay right now, whatever they're at.
Cool. Joe, you're back. Any
Nice.
comments?
Yeah, it was an interesting conversation. He's
I wouldn't say that was a straight epistemology conversation.
yeah, it didn't
There's
feel
just
like
cordial
it didn't feel
conversation.
like strict epistemology. Yeah, it was polite conversation. I think he would be a really interesting person to try to pin down on a topic, but would be difficult to do so. But yeah, it's good. It's very interesting to hear these perspectives from someone who has literally no idea about LDS like myself. So yeah, I appreciate that much.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing I said, I really, I've seen that. Like, half of ex-Mormons, you could call them anti-Mormons because they kind of read into Joseph Smith, got angry, and then left the church. The other half are kind of like that guy, where they probably haven't looked into the history. They probably weren't super, like, participating even when they were young. They were just sort of, like, moseying along, but because they're so entrenched in their family, they'll always have that tie. And when they go off and live their own life, they'll always have this thing in the back of their mind. It's like, eventually I'll go back to church, I'll stop drinking, I'll have a family, and I know that, you know, the Book of Mormon is true. I know the plan of salvation is the only way to be happy. I'm just kind of going through a rebellious phase right now.
Yeah, he did seem to be kind of in a rebellious phase. He said he was with 2 hot girls or something. Like, I mean, it's pretty funny.
Do you fit into either of those camps that you just presented, or?
The first.
Right.
If I had to, like, you know, put myself in a stereotype, I would be like the angry, bitter ex-Mormon, I guess. But yeah, he asked if I was anti, and that's like a phraseology that you would only learn in Utah.
Really?
Because if you say anti, that's short for anti-Mormon. And along with having its own weird name, there's also an entire like web of beliefs about who you are as an anti-Mormon. It's a person who, against all reason and better judgment, is just committed to negating all the positive effects that the church has in the world. So Jesus is doing his work to build his kingdom, and the antis are on the other side doing Satan's bidding. So I was very careful to say no when he asked that question. Hello.
Hi, how are you? We're doing interviews today, if anyone's interested. What is the party? What is that about?
Oh, I'm getting married.
Oh, nice, nice.
Congratulations.
Wait, I got some for you guys. Oh. Oh, guys. Thank you, guys.
We go through a lot of water.
Yeah. I think they think you're with the park.
Really? Yeah, probably. The swan is stuck somehow.
Oh, yeah. It's like the Titanic out there.
Yeah. Lots of swans.
There was this, have you heard of NPR's like quiz show, Wait, Don't Tell Me?
What is it?
It's just a weekly NPR thing where they have a celebrity guest and they ask them questions about like the week's news.
Yeah.
And there's no money prize because it's NPR, but it's always entertaining. Anyways, this week they talked about a Titanic museum in some landlocked city in somewhere, that the replica iceberg that they had, somebody like collided into it with, you know, a golf cart or something, and it tipped over and it like injured 3 people.
Oh shit.
The reason they brought this up is because they're talking about times where history repeated itself.
Damn iceberg.
Yeah. Like, is that being irreverent towards the actual Titanic, or is it being irreverent towards these people who went to a museum and got injured?
Art imitating reality, and then the art causing a bad thing happening in reality.
Whoa. Yeah, I bet you do go through a lot of water, though.
Oh yeah. Don't forget to offer one of these little puzzle pieces to people when they come by. We finally got some new ones with the SE logo on it.
Oh, that is new, huh?
Yeah.
That's rad. Don't I get one? Because I did one of these with you?
Sure, yeah.
Totally, I do want one. Yeah.
You want a whole set?
Well, I'll have to do more interviews.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to get the full set eventually.
Sure.
Wow, I've come such a long way from secretively watching Anthony Magnabosco videos, like in the closet of my dorm at BYU. Now I've got my own puzzle piece.
Wow, you would secretly watch them at BYU.
Well, I mean, it wasn't in my closet, but like I didn't want my roommates hearing that. Because there's like stakes. It's a private school, which means they basically do what they want.
Yeah, that's strict, yeah.
And, I mean, it's not like a conspiracy theory. We know people who lost their scholarship, job, housing, employment, all of the above, you know, because they were tied to the university, because they couldn't claim that they believed Joseph Smith was a prophet. And they'll ask you twice a year.
They ask you?
Yeah, it's formalized. It's called the ecclesiastical endorsement. It's part of your requisite criteria for retaining your status as a student. It's done through your local bishop. Signs a paper saying, yep, this guy believes it.
And I assume it's not merely they just ask you, or is there a way to like test for that?
They don't have an e-meter. That's what you mean. Although, like, that wouldn't be far from. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, that's functionally an accreditation of belief, is what you're talking about there. It's essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't think it's changed in like 100 years. It's they just make you attest to it twice a year.
Wow. And what's the consequences
And they are
of
a
not
501c3,
completing that?
huh?
What's the consequences of not completing that test, I suppose?
So probably varies. At best, you would have a hold on your registration status until you're able to obtain an ecclesiastical endorsement. There would probably be follow-up interviews instead of with your bishop, somebody else higher up the ladder, like stake president or somebody at the actual honor code office, which is the university office that deals with student behavior. And so that would be our best. At worst, you know, if you walked in and said, I'm having sex, I'm drinking, I don't believe in Joseph Smith, and I have no interest in regaining that belief, and I want nothing to do with anything you tell me, they'll say, okay, well, this person lacks the penitent spirit to reform.
Wow.
And we have, you know, reason to expel them on sight, and they'll do. And they'll withhold your transcripts from other universities. And when the university inquires why they've withheld your transcript, they'll say it was for academic dishonesty. Which means, I mean, for them, it means plagiarism or whatever it means. So it's a bad look.
We're adding Luke here to the conversation. He's part of the SE community. Feel free to hang out. I'm going to deal with something. Hang on.
Okay.
Do you have any spiritual or religious views remaining, Jacob, or are you fairly secular nowadays? Or?
I think most of the Mormons who go through my experience end up totally secular, or at least that's what Reddit would have me believe. But I've, you know, like, I've kind of bounced around the pendulum back and forth. For most of the 3 or 4 years after leaving, it was like, there's no God, there's no purpose, there's no morality, there's nothing good about living. We're just, you know, the fanciest monkeys on this dirt ball. And since then, though, I've kind of been looking for more purpose. And a lot of times it's been like in secular places. Like, how can I take a holistic view of evolution, natural selection, the formation of the universe, ideas about, you know, the Big Bang and how matter came to exist, whatever. How can I look at that and then use that to give myself meaning? That's kind of as spiritualism as I get lately.
Right.
But
I mean, it helps.
I think that,
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, no, I was going to say it sometimes helps to attribute what purpose or meaning even means to you. You know, what are the requirements to have met a purpose? Is it just doing things that you enjoy, or is it helping others? Or so, have you thought about perhaps defining a purpose? Or
functionally, I would say I have a purpose. I'm in grad school for audiology. It's a very like person helping career with hearing and ears and stuff. So functionally, I would say like I live my life as if there were a purpose. Who is it? Doesn't Jordan Peterson say you should live your life as if there is a God? So I'm kind of making one of those arguments that you should live your life as if there was a purpose. But I would be, you know, happy to be contradicted. It's hard to find absolute universal purpose without a God belief or something like that.
yeah, there seems to be room for people who are, you know, the effective altruism movement is really interesting in this regard, where it talks about at what level of you giving everything up is actually detrimental to the amount of good that you could do, right? So there's this sort of sliding scale. And I think purpose is similar. Do we all need to be entirely selfless people that are living for everybody else, or is there room for others to find purpose in other ways? I think it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, where do you mind, Joe, if I flip it on you? Where you fall in there?
No. I guess I struggle with it. I ideally would rather have a purpose outside of myself. I'm fairly selfish in my purpose in life at the moment. I moved to a resort town. I ski in the wintertime. I mountain bike in the summertime. I love photography. I live in the mountains. I get to do all this really cool stuff. And I hope that I'm positive to the people that are in my immediate vicinity, but I don't think that I largely go out of my way to do too much in this world outside of things for myself. So I'm trying to figure out a way where I can turn my time and energy into doing something positive for other people as well.
Mhm.
So I don't know what that looks like yet, but yeah, so far my purpose since leaving Australia has been quite selfish, exploring the things I love, and yeah, whether that be mentally or physically, or so yeah, that's kind of where I sit.
Well, don't cut yourself short. Well, then there's an airplane. I think I'll let it go by.
A bunch of military helicopters.
Probably on their way to San Francisco to establish a new world order. Where were we just at, Joe? Oh, yeah. So, I mean, effective altruism. Could you give me a definition of that really quick?
Well, as I understand it, the effective altruism movement is trying to analyze altruism in a way where you're doing maximal
We're just hanging
good.
out doing some interviews today, if you're interested.
I'll get interviewed.
Want to do it?
Let's do it.
Cool.
Take my chair.
Let's do it. Wait, what's this for, though?
It's for my YouTube channel, Podcast Hobby.
YouTube.
Yep.
Let's go.
Cool. How are you doing today?
Oh, do I gotta put these on?
It helps. Check.
Yo.
Hello, what's up? I like her sunglasses. Wow.
Yo, you fuck with the pits?
Pit Viper.
Let's go, bro. How you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
How many subs do you have? Just wondering.
15,000.
Oh, nice.
And we have 7 people watching.
Nice, bro.
On YouTube and Twitch and a bunch of things. So yeah, you come to the park often?
No, I'm not. I'm from California, just not the area. Missed my flight at LAX, so I had to stay the night in LA pretty much. But I'm going to Florida, going to Miami.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have family in Naples, Florida.
Nice, man. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So is this just like social experiment, or is there like questions you want to ask me?
Yeah, we're trying to practice this way of having conversations called street epistemology.
Okay.
It's a Socratic method style where we let someone come up and let them bring up a claim, something they think is the case or true, and I will keep my opinion out of it and ask you questions to help you understand why you believe to yourself, really. And help people reflect on what they believe and why.
So something that I think is true.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be politics, religion, spirituality, science. Anything.
Let me think here. We'll stick on topic with COVID, I guess. I think that the vaccine is not effective, and I'm pretty sure that's pretty obvious at this point. You know what I mean?
No COVID vaccine is effective in what way? What do you mean?
Well, if you look at countries like Israel or Iceland, these countries have about 90 to 95% fully vaccinated, countries. And if you look at these countries, they're having COVID outbreaks. So how the hell is this vaccine, supposed to stop COVID if people that are fully vaccinated are still getting the virus. It just doesn't really make sense, and it's really fishy. A lot of it seems like there's big money interest in it, you know what I mean? It's not really about like saving people's lives or anything personally. And you could really look at it. I mean, the vaccine itself, you could argue that it's more deadly than the virus. I mean, if you look at like the VAERS adverse reactions and stuff like that, and a lot of different other sources, not the CNN and MSNBC sources, but if you look at other independent sources, you can find information that you won't find on the mainstream news about the vaccine. And it's very like, even like, obviously it's like, you can go on like Reddit and stuff and hear, read people's stories about their vaccine, to how credible that is, it's a little dubious, but there's so much, it's just crazy. I think that they're going to try to mandate this, you know what I mean? And they're, trying to force us to get the vaccine, to eat, to go into restaurants and stuff. It's just insane. And another thing too, it's experimental. It's experimental mRNA gene technology. You know what I mean? It's not like it's a real vaccine. A real vaccine is something that is a dead or weakened form of the virus. You know what I mean? So it's not a real vaccine. It's a new mRNA technology that, the creator of mRNA vaccines himself came out saying that, the vaccine isn't safe and that it's possibly going to cause a lot of damage in the future to people. So, I don't know. That's pretty much how I feel about the vaccine. And the COVID lockdowns themselves are 100% worse than the virus. People, my mom lost her job, my dad lost her job, so many people I know lost their job. Everybody's on unemployment. The country is going to hell, man.
Yes, what I'm hearing you say is just this whole situation is messed up. It's bad. There's the virus itself, and the vaccine for it is not effective. And even if it was effective, there's just fishy stuff going on with financial incentives.
Yep.
And the effects of the whole lockdowns is bad for the economy and for people getting their jobs. It's just a bad situation.
Yeah, in general, man. In general, it's like we just got to wake up and just go back to normal, because we're going to live with COVID no matter what. COVID's not going away. Honestly, COVID's always been here. Coronavirus vaccines, obviously it's a new variant or whatever, but, coronavirus has always been here. So we're just going to have to live with it at this point, and we got to move on.
The broad category of a coronavirus has always been
Yes,
here.
yeah. Like coronaviruses were discovered in like the 1960s, I believe. Okay. Something along those lines. But obviously it's like a new variant or whatever.
This particular one is new.
Yeah.
Is it dangerous? If you got COVID, would you be concerned?
I would rather get COVID than the vaccine, 100%.
Why do you believe that?
Because for one, COVID itself, it has a 99.9%, survival rate, especially for people my age. I'm 23 years old. I'm healthy. I take supplements. I'm a little overweight, but I haven't been sick since 2019. Okay, I haven't, and that's when I started supplementing and stuff and taking stuff like colloidal silver and turmeric, and I take a lot of different supplements, but that really, I boosted my immune system, and I started boosting it before COVID just because I got into it. I've got into like supplementing and stuff.
Yeah.
And really, I think I may have got COVID in the beginning of like in 2019, like the end of 2019, like I said, like right in the beginning, I was sick in December. I think it might have been COVID. But honestly, I haven't been sick since. So, and throughout the whole pandemic, I haven't been sick. I don't wear the mask, unless I absolutely have to. Dude, I barely even wash my hands, dude. Like I just took a piss and didn't wash my hands.
Okay, wow.
So, yeah.
So you feel you're protected because you've boosted your immune system with supplements.
Yeah, and I also believe in like, I'm really against like the modern medicine, really, personally. I believe in, and this is more new for me, honestly. I'm starting to get into it more, like herbal medicine and like more holistic ways of healing, you know what I mean? Because the way that the pharmaceutical industry is and the medical industry is now, it's like, here's a pill, here's a surgery, here's a this, here's that. It's like these solutions that they come up with are not, some of them, some of the things in modern medicine, sure, they've been good, but I feel like a lot of them, just look at the opiate crisis, you know what I mean? The opiate crisis wouldn't be here if these, doctors didn't prescribe all these damn opiates to people for a hurt knee or something, you know what I mean? There's other ways to heal yourself, than these modern methods, I think.
Yeah, so let's focus on the question, should you personally get the vaccine? I assume you have not got the vaccine.
Oh, hell no,
And I'd love to understand, I'm hearing a lot of reasons to not get the vaccine. Could we brainstorm, wonder about reasons to get the vaccine? What would need to be true? How would things need to be different in order to potentially lean that way?
Obviously, I think it's up to personal choice at the end of the day. If you want to get the vaccine and be a, experimental, go for the experimental gene therapy, go ahead. I think the Johnson & Johnson actually isn't an mRNA one, to be honest, but I heard it also has other problems like stuff with heart problems and stuff like that. But honestly, if you want to get the vaccine, go get the vaccine. I don't give a fuck, honestly. Sorry for my language.
No worries.
I don't really care. You can go get the vaccine. Just don't push it on me and force me to get the vaccine and force me and, push me out of society to get the vaccine. Like, what the hell? That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
If you came to believe, hypothetically, that the vaccine was safe and effective in some way, and let's say next year something happened that you learned about that just made you believe that it was safe and effective, I'd also like to get your confidence that it's a good idea to get the vaccine for yourself. If all the way to the right is absolutely yes, it is a good idea, or absolutely no, it's not a good idea for you. Where is your current confidence about it?
Absolutely no.
Where's your current?
Absolutely no.
In the white?
Absolutely, that's no, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely no.
Yeah. What would need to happen next year for your future self to think, oh, I'm like a slightly up a little bit about it? Not sure. Not like all the way over, not even like in the middle, but like slightly the other way.
Honestly, nothing, because I don't need it. I've looked at all this, everything I need to look at. I'll be fine if I had coronavirus right now. I would be literally maybe little sniffles and my throat would hurt, you know what I mean? I don't get fucking sick, okay? So honestly, never. I don't need the vaccine. There's no point. Why would I get it? I don't get sick. I haven't been sick for 2.5 years, man. I haven't been sick through the whole pandemic. Why? What's the point? There's no point. And they say, oh, you're what's the hot term they use? Like you spread the virus, but you don't get symptoms, pretty much. I forget what it's called, honestly. Asymptomatic or whatever. Yeah. And honestly, the whole asymptomatic thing, there's that like the science they had behind that, and the studies they were using was very, very sketchy in my opinion. So I don't really believe their whole. And you notice they don't talk about that anymore. When the hell is the last time you heard about asymptomatic people? What you hear about now is the unvaccinated, but the people that are getting the virus are vaccinated. It almost seems like the virus is causing more variants. Oh no, that's actually what exactly is happening. The vaccine is causing more variants. What do you know? What do you know?
Yeah, I wonder if this claim is testable, that you yourself are virtually protected because of your own health and immune system.
Well, I didn't say I was virtually. I mean, I could get COVID. I just won't be like it won't kill me or anything.
There wouldn't be severe consequences.
Yeah, I'd be a little sick.
A little sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that claim testable?
Sure.
Yeah. Say hypothetically, what would be a good way to test that claim that you and people similar to yourself in terms of physicality and
well, I mean, I guess I could just straight up expose myself to COVID. I mean,
yeah. Say we instead of you doing it, we'd like get a population of 1,000 people that are like similar to you in terms of health and.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's honestly a good idea. They should be doing stuff like that. Honestly, as far as like
Yeah.
you know, willing participants, you know what I mean? Obviously, I mean, I wouldn't want to, like, it's a hypothetical. I don't really want to be like a government lab rat or anything, honestly. But like, if it, like, sure, whatever, like, but if the more, like, I think reasonable situation is like, oh, I get exposed to COVID, you know what I mean? That's how we can test it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, say hypothetically tomorrow, in some way, there's like 1,000 people similar to you were now being tracked over the next year, 5 years or so, and we track them, and next year we discover some of them got COVID. If they all were fine, they just got little sniffles, that would be a good reason to stay at your same level of confidence.
Sure, yeah, sure, I guess. Yeah, if there's some type of study going on like that, sure. Yeah. I mean,
what would need to be the result of that test? How would they need to perform in terms of getting COVID in order for you to shift your confidence about it?
Now, I will say this.
Yeah.
Now, COVID itself, I don't think is like a virus. Like, in the beginning of the virus, in the pandemic, I think everybody was, you know, a little scared. I was, you know, using hand sanitizer. And it was before they were telling people to mask up and stuff. Like, after like the first month, I was like, oh, this is bogus, you know. But like the first month of the pandemic, I remember like March or something like that, I think it was, of 2020.
Yeah.
Like, sure, I think everybody was like a little concerned. Like, I remember at work, I didn't want to touch the money and stuff like that. Like, I think everybody was, like, because it was like, oh, they're like, remember what they were doing, the propaganda they had people in China like dropping dead in the street saying it was from coronavirus and stuff, you know what I mean? It was insane. So like, definitely, and I was a little concerned at first, and I will give you that, you know, it is possible that one day there could be like another plague, you know what I mean? I don't think it's going to be coronavirus, but there could be like a super virus that actually kills a lot of people, and that's not an impossibility. I'm not saying that's an impossibility. I'm just saying coronavirus isn't it.
Yeah. So for this test of 1,000 people over a year, let's say half of them got COVID, and of the people who got COVID, half of them died. Would that be a reason? I'm not saying that will happen. Or is that even close to realistic? If hypothetically that happened, would that change your confidence about being a vaccine?
I would be very skeptical of that study, honestly. But I mean, I would look into it. I wouldn't say it would change my mind, but I would definitely look into it and be very skeptical.
Yeah. What result of that test would cause you to reasonably revise your confidence?
I don't think anything, because coronavirus itself is just not a threat, in my opinion. So if there was some like crazy new, like something like that was like some crazy mutated version of like some, you know, cousin of coronavirus, like, you know what I mean, like something that was actually a threat, you know what I mean? There's my answer. A virus that, if it was actually a threat, there you
say
go.
A new variant of this virus.
Yeah, like if there was possibly or something, you know what I mean, hypothetically. I don't think that's going to happen, just because the way that coronaviruses have been in the past, I don't think it would ever get to like some, like, you know, plague level type of severity. But say they create some crazy fucking, you know, virus in a lab or some shit like that, you know what I mean, or create, you know what I mean, they could do it, you know what I mean. I'm not saying that's an impossibility. That is definitely, you know, I mean, that's definitely been like, you know, out there in the, you know, internet and like conspiracy theories for a long time, you know what I mean.
What I'm hearing you say, there is a possible world in the future potentially where there could exist a virus and there could exist a vaccine for that virus that you would be more willing to take the vaccine.
I'll say yeah, because if it was like some like the Black Plague or something, man, like, yeah, I think sure, like
a virus that kills you within a week.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Like a highly rigorous, super good tested vaccine.
Yes, I think I think I am anti-vax in a lot of the vaccines we have. I think there were good vaccines in the past. Like there were. I'm not 100%. Got it all in my head right now, but a lot of it changed when the vaccines were being made for profit and stuff like that, and companies were making them instead of like the universities and stuff like that. And it's not some universities are still making vaccines, but they're, you know, funded by, you know, dubious funders. So there are some vaccines in the past that were good. Like I think the polio vaccine did save a lot of people. I'm pretty sure. But also like the MMR vaccine, you know, that shit's. I took it, and I was fine from it, obviously. But there's kids that literally like get autism from it, get like, you know, crazy like other debilitating problems from it. You know what I mean?
We have better and worse vaccines.
Yeah, there's better and worse vaccines, I think, for sure. Personally, I think
this current vaccine is not as good as you would like it to be.
Yeah, no, this is the worst. This is the worst. This is absolutely the worst.
The worst kind of vaccine?
Because it's the new mRNA gene therapy technology that we have no long-term studies on, and we don't know what the hell is going to happen in the next 5 years. You know what I mean? Half of the people that took the vaccine could end up infertile for God knows, you know?
Yeah, say 5 years from now, what would need to be true in that world to think, oh, you know, us back in 5 years ago, we shouldn't have been so much worried about it. We should have thought it was.
Well, definitely that would be if like half of the people that got the vaccine are infertile or something like that. You know what I mean? That would be a cause for concern.
That would be a cause for concern. What would be a cause for not concern?
Yeah, I will say, you know, if, you know, there is, you know, if in 5 years, you know, maybe it's harder to tell exactly, you know, what the side effects were, you know, and it's a little bit, you know, harder to exactly pinpoint. But I do think that regardless, you know, putting that foreign, you know, substance in your body is not good. Like, honestly, personally, for me, I don't even really believe in, like, injections, you know what I mean? Like, the idea of, like, injecting something into your bloodstream is a very new idea, really. That's, like, only been around for, like, 200 years or something like that. God made us with ways to like absorb stuff, you know, like we have our nostrils, we have our mouth, you know, our ears even, our eyes, you know what I mean, our skin even, you know, we have ways to absorb stuff. So I personally even think that like injection in itself, injecting something straight into your bloodstream, I don't think we were meant to do that as humans, personally.
Injections is a type of man-made technology.
Yeah, like obviously some have worked, you know, and some have worked. But I don't, like, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think we were meant to be doing that, personally.
We weren't meant to be intervening in our health in that way.
Yeah, like, well, like, just like the injecting stuff straight into your bloodstream. Like, I don't know, like, how do we know that our bodies were made to do that? You know what I mean? We know that our bodies were made to absorb stuff through the mouth, absorb stuff through the nose, absorb stuff through the eyes, absorb stuff through the skin, but poking a needle into your vein, like, how do we know that we were meant to absorb stuff through that way? You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that's a very, you know, philosophical idea too, to a way to think about it as well. You know what I mean?
Should we, humanity, only do what was meant for us by God's creation? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Ideally. I mean, I'm a Christian, so ideally, you know, obviously we live in a fallen world, so you know, Satan is the ruler of this world, so evil will preside and win most of the time. But I would love for us to, you know, live in a godly Christian society, you know, instead of this like hell world we live in. But man, I actually gotta go. Honestly, I've been talking for a while, and my mom's waiting for me. I think we had a good conversation.
Yeah,
though.
I love the chat. I try to be here Sundays from 12 to 4. Do you come to the park often?
No.
You're about to leave, right?
But I'm gonna take one of these cards.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I live stream as well.
Yeah, I'd love to continue the chat at some point.
I live stream as well. I mean, a little bit different content, but you know, I'll show my channel this. Cool. I'll show them.
And what was your name? Sorry.
My name's Nate.
Nate, gotcha.
Yeah,
Can
for
you
sure.
write down your email?
Yeah, sure.
Just type that in. And we like to offer one of these little squishy puzzle pieces as a gift to whoever we talk to. Feel free to take one of those. Yeah. Yeah, I do Zoom conversations like this as well, and I'd love to follow up at some point.
Yeah, for sure, man.
This is fun.
Most definitely, man.
Yeah, feel free to take a puzzle piece.
Oh yeah, definitely, man.
And one of those colors.
Oh, these.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Any color you want. It's
cool.
like a stress ball thing.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man. Have a good one, bro.
You too.
Yep.
Thanks.
I hope he was interesting.
He was great. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Have a good one, guys.
You too. See ya.
That's a CPG gray shirt too.
It is, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you. Love him.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Holy shit.
Wow.
Have a great day.
Do you have any like wet wipes?
Oh man.
Offhandedly brag about not washing your hands after using the bathroom. But he found one, you know? I'm just gonna give this a once over.
Oh man. Those are the
Lots
kind of
to unpack
conversations
there, right?
I want to have. And I don't think I did the best job, but I try to get it. Yeah, wow, that's a hard conversation to have.
I thought you did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I want to wipe down all those, wipe down everything.
Yeah, no, just do a general wipe down.
That's fine. But any comments from there, Joe?
I think, well, obviously, without getting into the content of his arguments, I think there's a lot of difficulty there because he wasn't listening to your questions in most cases. He was hearing sort of the gist of your question, but then just going into an affirmative statement about his claim, as opposed to, because you were often saying, you know, what would be the flip side of this? And he'd be like, yeah, no, that's right. The vaccine doesn't work, or, you know, something like that. So some difficulty stemmed from him not actually listening to what you were saying in your questions, I think.
Yeah, probably that, and that's a sign of not building enough rapport, probably. He was talking fast, he was going from point to point, he was just trying to, a little bit of gish gallop there.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's...
And which is part of just being a little bit insecure and talking with a random person in park, probably.
Well, I think your rapport building was effective in the start. He definitely, I think you did a good job. There was at least a couple of sentences there which he appreciated, and he seemed to feel positively about you. So I think you did a good enough job with the rapport building. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be that frank about those kinds of positions on things without feeling comfortable with the person you're sharing them with.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, you know, wasn't saying all that stuff to contradict you or as like an aggressive stance. It was just being very honest.
I think there's a lot of emotion there too, because if you step into his worldview for a moment, it would be, we're living in a state of perpetual madness. You know, the entire world has gone wrong if what he thinks is true, right? So it probably really animates him, because in every way, what the medical system is doing, what the government is doing in response economically, all these things. So it would seem to be a bit of a crisis point for him, I think, if his worldview is true. So I think that's why he was really animated and talking a lot. Yeah, I don't know how you could change that though, in how you could get him to slow down or focus on one point. That would be difficult.
You just gotta ideally have successive chill conversations where he's not being judged and mostly listened to.
Yep.
And and I got his emails. Hopefully we'll
I love that you do that. That's so cool.
Yeah, I've never asked for someone's email before, I don't think.
Okay. Well, I think that shows that you really like care about the people that you're talking with, and that you want them to think about what they believe in, which is what this is all about.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be frank, like, my goal is always to seek to understand, hear his reasons, and help him reflect on his reasons, but I do have this additional goal where I was not explicit, where I'm attempting to persuade him to a different level of confidence. He was absolutely confident that the vaccine was not a good idea for him. So my goal is to move that, not even all the way over to the right, but just somewhere. Whereas I don't think that's a reasonable place to be for that claim, for him in his physicality and frankly that physicality. So that's a goal I have. I don't think that's bad. So I had a conversation with your brother years ago at VidCon. The ethics of moving people away from faith, using faith as an epistemology. And this is an example where I'm trying to persuade someone away from an anti-vax position. But I'm doing it in I think a fair and honest way. And
I am asking questions to help them think, but it's through these questions that we're really thinking through the problem and trying to be reasonable about it. And I'm open to changing my mind as well about whatever.
Yeah.
I had a couple of thoughts. I had a couple of thoughts while the conversation was going on about some of the things he said, like his point on injections. I thought a couple of questions you could ask was, are injections for other reasons okay? Is it okay for a diabetic person to inject daily? And is that safe? Is injections only bad with vaccines?
That would be good.
And then another question along that line is, what about vaccines that are delivered through other methods? Like you have nasal droplets, that vaccines for things like polio. Where does injection sit in the negativity of the? So you can try and tease apart where it's anti-vax and where it's something else. So,
yeah.
I don't know, but
yeah, I've never heard that.
Thought I had.
Injections are not how God intended us to take things into our bodies,
which is related to the sanctity/purity moral foundation. When he brings up God and stuff being foreign going into the body, that is pure. Purity foundation right there talking. So you gotta frame it in terms of clean versus disgusting. There's the disgust level going on there, and so you gotta deal with that emotion of disgust.
Yeah,
I noticed that. Go ahead, Joe.
No, sorry, Jacob. Please go ahead.
I notice people often misunderstand in a similar way the hypotheticals that we sometimes do. I don't know how loud the helicopter is for listeners.
We can still hear your voice.
Yeah. That's fine. Just hold it a little closer.
Okay. So we kind of asked, or when you asked, 5 years from now, what kind of results would you need to see for these supposed experiments that would contradict your present belief about the vaccine? And he said, yeah, I guess nothing,
Yeah.
And I think that people at a fundamental level misunderstand the purpose of hypotheticals in these kinds of conversations. Like, he's more coming at this hypothetical of how can I continue to defend my belief, which is obviously not what you're asking him to do.
I'm trying to ask him how could he tell if he's wrong, if he is wrong.
Yeah.
What would he need to see to know that?
Yeah, but it's really hard when somebody is in defensive mode to come across that way.
Yeah.
I see the same problem with a lot of Anthony's hypotheticals as well, where they kind of answer just on a different level than he was asking.
I thought at one point he was also relating the sort of conspiratorial pharmaceutical large company thing and his dislike of what medical practice was happening with, therefore the science is not correct. So I thought it might be good to ask him if the pharmaceutics could be doing whatever, but can the results of the science still be reliable? Because just because pharmaceuticals are doing X, Y, or Z, what about the actual science behind it? So yeah, I thought that might be interesting as well.
Yeah, is it possible that they really are just pushing this vaccine and making it mandatory for profit, but that it also treats or prevents the coronavirus?
Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, that's what I was sort of getting at.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's I would definitely love to hear his answer to that. I asked that to Mormons a lot, that kind of rooted question. Because people kind of create this false dichotomy with the prophet who founded the religion of, either he was truly called by God and earnestly carried out God's work the whole time. Thank you, Reed.
Sure.
Or he was everything the anti-Mormons say he was. Charlatan, sex predator, and all these things. And so I'll ask, and they'll say, Joseph Smith, there's no possible way that he was a sex predator or whatever because he was a prophet. He was a good prophet. And then I say, so is it possible that Joseph Smith was a prophet really called by God? He had those visions and really translated the Golden Bible or whatever. But that he also took advantage of the people around him and was sort of opportunistic about his calling as a prophet.
Yeah.
And that's it's just not a way that people in the Mormon Church think. Like, they don't think besides that false dichotomy that they've created. So yeah, that's a good question.
I hope you get a second conversation with him, Red. I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, one way to help with hypotheticals is to explore the value of truth at some point before you go into that. And then that shifts into someone who makes it, he's putting out there that he's a type of person who values truth, usually. And then you can ask those type of hypothetical questions and kind of alter test. This is from the book. It's kind of ethically murky, but it's possible to say, like, so you're the kind of person who wants to value the true things, and truth in general, be reasonable. If it, in 5 years in the future, there was some kind of result that any reasonable person, any person who values the truth, would now know about this vaccine, blah blah blah. You go that way. You want to, and then that ties into the principle of trying to be consistent in between signal type of consistency. People very much want to be consistent to other people. Which is, it's good to be consistent anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah. I think that with these kinds of things, people have the idea that there's no way to know one way or the other. Mostly about God beliefs. They'll think like, well, if nobody's ever going to prove or disprove this, then it doesn't matter what evidence I have to believe or disbelieve. And so then they don't come at it from that frame of, we're asking if we can find out if this is true. And the truth of the belief is what we're after, not its usefulness or how it makes you feel, or arguments that don't actually deal with evidentiary claims. How's it going?
Hi. This is where the survey is helpful. Question 18 is the most important criteria for my beliefs is that they match reality, depending on how they answer that. You can talk about another claim without an explanation for something. Any answer is better than no answer.
What are you looking at here, Reed?
There's a survey, or just a list of claims that relate to our beliefs, why we believe them, why change our mind, truth, on the SE website. And it's another possible way to have SE conversations. It's a while, but you can have them go through the survey, and you don't even really have to talk about a claim. Just see how these things are consistent with each other. And just talk about these different values and ideas.
Yeah. All right, I'll get out and try to find it.
Yeah, it's on the streetepistemology.com/resources. Should be the SE survey link. And Nathan Abstract Activist has a bunch of tutorial videos on his channel.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. All right, 4 o'clock. I'm gonna keep moving.
Alrighty. We're about to wrap up here too. Gotta get ready for poker.
Yeah, poker tonight, huh?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for speaking with me, Jacob. And you did a good job on your interview. Much appreciated.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Yeah, I really appreciate you offering that feedback and stuff too. Are you a YouTuber as well, Joe?
No, not at all. I'm just I just discovered Anthony's videos through his involvement with the ACA years ago. I love all the stuff the ACA does. I regularly. I called in to talk even last weekend, and I watched both of those shows, and I got exposed to his videos, and then the SA Discord about 4 days ago, and then saw the ping today for this, so I thought I'd come along. But,
cool.
But I'm just blown away by how welcoming you guys were, and just having me on here. It's great, so I appreciate it. Thanks, Reed.
No problem.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good time to get into street epistemology. because anybody who is active in this is like already part of the core street epistemology group, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's very few communities where you can find a YouTuber and watch all their content and be like, gee, this is really great. And then just meet this person at a I live like 20 minutes from here. So pretty lucky. Pretty cool community.
Yeah, it's great.
It is a good community.
Well,
I'm
I'll
gonna
head
go,
off, but if you guys are heading out, but I just wanted to thank you both, and yeah, it was awesome. And I'm sure I'll see you around the Discord and other places in the near future. Look forward to it.
Yeah, DM me, Joe, and I'll send you a link to the poker tonight if you're interested.
Okay, awesome.
If
Well,
you play,
that would
if you
be,
play poker.
I do play it very badly, so I'm the best kind of poker guest you want. So we'll see.
Great.
Yeah, they took my money last week, so I'd be weary about these invitations you get from Reed.
But look, thanks again. Take care, and I'll speak to you guys soon.
Later.
See you, Joe.
Alrighty, cool.
Cool. That was neat. You're out here every Sunday doing this?
I try to be, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I could stop by.
Sure. And if you know of any other places to try out, let me know. I want to do an interview. Any thoughts on any of that?
I would love to. I have to meet my friend though.
Alright, no worries.
I gotta find her, but I'll come back later. Okay.
We're here Sundays 12 to 4. We're about to wrap up, so
Oh, okay.
maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot of places you could do this.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like it has to be a park, it has to be public park.
Yeah,
Right.
the criteria is like ideally foot traffic, public, quiet, okay parking, and somewhere we're not going to get kicked out because of filming regulations.
Oh, then that makes the list kind of small, huh?
Yeah.
Have you been to, you were at Santa Monica for a while, right?
Yeah, that's that's hit or miss depending on the day.
Yeah.
There.
Okay. It can get loud over there.
Yeah.
There's...
UCLA is great, but...
Oh yeah, universities, right?
Yeah. But I went there a few weeks ago, and no one was there, virtually no one. And there's police cars like patrolling through like the campus trail and park and little mini streets. So it's not a good place right now. Hopefully in the fall it would be better. So I am planning to go on a road trip starting in mid-September to mid-November to various places. So I need to really plan out where I'm going to be. So.
Oh, you're going to be like recording as you go?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
and is the aim like to sort of get a snapshot of people's epistemology in every state across the union or something?
Really, I just need to kill time when because my apartment is getting roof construction. They're completely redoing the roof, and I live right below it. Okay. So it's not gonna be a good idea to be there while that's happening.
So you need to find a place to be.
Yes.
Road trip. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I hope it goes well with your roof too.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. So cool.
I grabbed him at the bathroom. It's all done.
All right. All right, cool. Well, thanks, Jacob, for stopping by. This is fun.
My pleasure.
See you potentially next week or so.
Yeah, I think I'll try to be here next week.
All right, thank you.
Hello. Jacob, nice to meet you.
I've been listening to it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
He wasn't about to walk away and put it down.
You guys got it all. I guess you do this all the time. Huh? My instinct is to be like, let me stack my chairs. That's all.
Don't sit on that side. He's got to sit.
You got your puzzle piece?
I got the puzzle piece.
All right, great. Yeah, you gotta have that.
Yeah, that's the only way out. All right, see ya.
Yeah, we drove past. We actually went out there with you. I thought you guys were going to keep going until 5. Yeah.
No worries. You just want to hang out?
Yeah, he found the comfy spot. Yeah, he wants the shade. He's hot. I cut and all that first. I know, right? I just like set his grooming appointment. We just have to wait till Tuesday. He has to suffer for the next couple of days. And my mom's dog will sit in the water bowl. Oh, really? Yeah. We'll open the freezer and he'll jump into the freezer. Yeah. Let's call it. They're not yeah. I think that's a guinea pig. I've seen so many weird
I'm all antibiotic up.
Feeling better?
Oh yeah, all done. All
Great.
good.
Cool.
I mean, it doesn't feel any different.
Take a look. That's a guinea pig in the grass.
Oh my God, a guinea pig.
And I'm glad no dog has found it.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be sad.
Is it just it's someone's pet, I'm gonna assume.
I hope
It's
so.
someone's pet.
Like, there's no way a wild guinea pig is here.
Yeah, it doesn't seem sustainable.
Yeah, no way. So, okay. All right. But there's like birds and stuff around here. There's like hawks and stuff. That's really dangerous.
Maybe.
Okay, I mean, wow.
On the other hand, down near the other park, I can show you where rabbits routinely get out of someone's yard and visit the park.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're Dutching rabbits.
Yeah. Yard with rabbits, and then they cross over, go up the street into a walking park and go to stuff and then come back. It's a thing.
I have another 20 minutes probably left of record time. It's probably
Okay.
best to just wrap up,
Probably best to just wrap up.
unless you want to go for a little longer.
I'm not attached. It's all good. I get so much practice doing this. This is great. I've had a wonderful day.
Great.
I was very, very happy for Jacob to get those slots. That was much more important than me stepping in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he did great.
He did fantastic.
Yeah.
All I have to do is skip giving an interview so that he can have that opportunity. Oh man, that's a 10-to-1 at least.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the guinea pig.
If the guinea pig has what?
Probably an Instagram. At
Yeah,
least.
probably. That particular look with the belt below the butt thing, that I've never warmed up to that. I've never understood why that's good. I don't want to judge, but damn. That looks like somebody hobbling themselves. Let me make sure I can't run.
I'm going to add it to my Instagram story.
Cool.
All right. We are done with our interviews for today.
Uh-huh.
Had a bunch of good interviews. Check them out. Shit. What happened? Try it again.
Better that way? Okay.
All right, that's a wrap. Had a bunch of good interviews today. Fuck it. The iPad app does not like it. I'll do
Okay.
it later in the car.
All right.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Very good.
Thanks everyone for watching. Bluesy vibes. We will be back potentially next Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Should we try Running Canyon next Sunday? Or what? Try something else?
I'd like to try Running Canyon on a different day and be here on Sunday. I'm really okay if we do multiples and like that. So I don't know what days do you have an extra day available?
Saturdays.
Okay. So I will make sure that Michael's covering, and I'm pretty sure that Gigi's covering Better Conversations. So my only concern is I probably have to cover main practice, and that'll be done. When is main practice? Oh, main practice is 11 right now. 11 to 1. So if we could do Runyon at 130, something like that, and
Sure.
that would work for me. And I can be in the car running the thing. I mean, it wouldn't matter.
All right.
Running practice is I don't have to have perfect sound for running practice. Even just sitting here with a tablet's enough.
Yeah. All right. See you later.
Bye bye.